I'm a big fan of the senator. He's an amazing guy. I was just with him a couple days ago. He worked very hard on the campaign, and we're a big fan as a family of the senators. But I'll let my father break that news.
Senator Rubio's been outspoken about the need to be more aggressive with China and Venezuela. More on the incoming administration from Fox's Aisha Hosni in West Palm Beach, Florida. Well, we know that Stephen Miller is going to be Deputy Chief of Staff, Tom Homan as Border Czar. President-elect Trump, meantime, is still scheduled to be sentenced for his criminal hush money conviction November 26th. The judge in New York is expected to announce today whether to vacate the conviction because of a Supreme Court ruling that former presidents have broad criminal immunity. Judge Juan Merchan could let the verdict stand, dismiss it altogether, or order a new trial. The airport in Port-au-Prince, Haiti is closed until at least next Monday. 2 commercial jets were hit by gunfire. A Spirit Airlines plane coming in for a landing from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, diverted to the Dominican Republic, and a JetBlue plane that was leaving Haiti, flying safely to New York after being hit. A flight attendant on the Spirit Airlines jet is reported to have unspecified minor injuries. Sentencing scheduled for December 20th for a man convicted of murdering 2 teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana. Richard Allen.
The verdict in the killings of 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, whose bodies were found a day after they vanished in 2017 during a hike. That's reaction outside the courthouse when the verdict came down.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry.
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. It has been 7 full days since America was reclaimed. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Tug, Rhino, and Front Office Lowe's. 404-741-1230 is the number at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. A week has gone by. How's everybody feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I live in a Trump world.
That's right. Amen to that.
It's pretty outstanding.
It is, man. It's a good place to be. I love it.
But we're seeing the repercussions of all of this.
Already.
Like, it's this ripple effect. And it wasn't like we threw the pebble in the pond. This was the boulder. And you're seeing across society where society has recognized, all right, elections-wise, how did we lose? What do we need to change? Not everybody, but the sane people that are out there. You're also seeing this in terms of viewership. I saw some of the numbers on MSNBC. They've plummeted by as much as 40 and 50% on their primetime shows because people said, wow, you've been lying to me for 4 years.
Wonderful. That's wonderful news.
It is wonderful news.
Turn that crap off, dude.
Joy Reid's show is down by 55% of the viewership.
It's because she's an idiot, man.
It's 1 week. Remember, she said on election night, she told everyone Kamala Harris ran a perfect campaign.
Oh, I know, right?
55% of her viewers went, yeah, I'm going to go check something else out.
Seriously, I got to find something else, man.
They've been so divisive for so long, and I think when people finally sat back after all of this, there was so much energy going into it, and, you know, there was this fake joy and being lied to by MSNBC and everybody else saying, Kamala Harris has this, it's in the bag, she's going to win this race. All the lies that they continue to tell and the pushed out, once they figured out that these were all lies, yeah, why would you not turn on them? There's no reason that I would believe that Fox News also gained a lot of viewership. Look what happened on election night. I mean, they had the highest rating for an election night broadcast that you've ever seen, because I think a lot of people said, you know what, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to get away from like all this divisiveness on MSNBC, CNN, NBC, all the other ABC, CBS.
Yeah, all the
and
letters.
we're going to go over and see how this is going to play out and maybe get some information that we might be able to trust, which is kind of funny for the left to have to come over there.
And for you, our audience, who we do love and respect and appreciate all of you, I will tell you that when we had the 2022 midterms, until the day after that, we had never had as large of numbers. Suddenly we had record numbers after the 2022 midterms. Now, that wasn't a win, but we were the ones telling the truth the whole time. And everything has grown out of those midterms. Obviously, we did huge numbers last week, and we continue to do big numbers because I believe we're one of the only places in this city when it comes to politics that are telling you, obviously, we have our pom-poms at times of what we're into, but we're also the only people that are telling you, watch out for this. Here's what's happening. Look for this because it's going to change your life. And so I have no surprise that you see what's happening on some of these liberal stations where they were not telling their audience about what was really happening in real time.
I intentionally watched CNN on election night. After we were done and we got over to the hotel.
That was MSNBC.
Yeah, 11 o'clock is when I think I cranked it up, something like that. And I thought the presentation with their board graphics and how they broke everything down into counties, I actually thought they did a better job than even Fox News. But the difference was they were continually telling their listeners, don't give up yet. We still have a chance for a Kamala win. That was the overwhelming message. You couldn't miss it. Did they say it aloud? No, but they kept saying, it's not over yet. It's not over. Don't give up. Don't give. They're trying to pull her and their listeners across the finish line, knowing, and then you could see it. I mean, there's a great, I don't know, about 8.5 minute montage of the MSNBC meltdown. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but when you watch it from the moment that the coverage starts about 7 o'clock all the way to the end when they realize that it's over, and just the change of body language, the change of language altogether, the discussion and how it went from this is going to be a great night for Kamala to complete collapse.
I think it was when we got through the state of Virginia and Kamala Harris had won Loudoun County by 8%, which is typically going to be an area that you win with the Democrat by 30 to 40%. When it was 8%, and then as we continued further and we got some of the information on what was going on in Texas, I brought up Denton County, which is University of North Texas, which is like the northern version, not anywhere near as liberal as Austin, Texas, but it's an eclectic arc town. You know, it's what it is. And when it voted plus 14 for Trump, I was like, oh, she's toast.
Yeah,
I guess this is over with.
No recovering from this.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the numbers early. And again, I think when you actually dive deep into the internals like we did, I mean, we talked about every group that was polled. We talked about it. That's why when we, said, hey, there's a good chance this could be 312, we were looking at poll numbers from Americans that actually mattered. And when you take in, I don't care what you say about the betting market, poly market, or the stock market, they have good indications on they will look differently than these polls will when these polls are run by ABC and other media
they're not
outlets.
into losing money.
They're not into losing money. They're going to look at really good internals of who's voting, why they're voting, and who they're going to vote for. Yep.
And off of that, Rhino, that was so new. Remember, it had just been in the last 60 days where we could actually, as Americans, bet on what we thought was happening in our elections. The overseas markets, for months in July, were telling us the exact same things. Now, it never got down to our state level. It was just general, who do you think is going to win the election? By the time we got down to a state level, man, Polymarket nailed it. They had it across I did not believe he was going to win all 7 swing states. He won all 7 swing states.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's unbelievable. And if you watched any news, I mean, leading up to this election, you heard them say, Trump will never be elected again. And boy, were they wrong.
He's not going to be president. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. Okay. I guarantee it. All right.
I think if he becomes the president, he'll make it great because the states is already great.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
On that note, Tom,
take it from me. How about that?
And then, of course, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Oh, Seth Meyers. And this thing goes on and on and on and on. I mean, there's probably a good minute and a half, 2 minutes of
poke the bear, man.
Buddy.
They got what they asked for.
They sure did.
That's the way I look at it. They're so afraid of common sense governing. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of somebody.
They're afraid of the people.
And they're afraid of the people. And these are the elites. You know, you hear people like, you and me, or even Carlos, or even people on the street talking about this. What you're hearing are elites who are afraid of what may come. And what is there to come? Prosperity? What is there to come? Freedoms? The freedom of speech to be able to say whatever you want, whenever you want. Yes, you may suffer consequences for what you say, but you have the right to say everything. We're protecting babies. I'm so happy with this, and I'm so happy that Donald Trump is going to be our president again, because finally we can fix this country.
This is going to be communism in reverse. And I say this, and I thought about building this into a topic for later this week, because I thought it was so strange that if Rhino wanted to start his own communist party, what he's going to do is go to the labor unions, the workforce, the people, and it's power to the people. Workers of the world unite. That's what communism's always been built on. This version of communism is built on elite and elite status.
Yeah.
It is suddenly the plebes, hey, y'all don't worry about, we're not even going to worry about you. The proletariat, now y'all are the ones that we're trying to unite and create this huge communist faction of. It's never worked to take the 1% of a country and say, oh, let's organize around you all. You left the workers behind and you saw the results in an election. How did you think to yourself that it was going to be a smart idea to leave the workers when communism is always dependent on the workers?
Because they're smarter than you are. They're smarter than I am. They're smarter than all of us.
They have disdain.
Right. They despise us, but they're also smarter than us. They know more than us. That's why if you don't worship at the altar of climate change, you're a fool. Uh-huh. You're something to be shunned at or scoffed at or looked down your nose at, because they know better.
Both of you guys said something, and y'all were ahead of this, because it just went in one ear out the other, and both of you guys picked up on this much sooner. When Michelle Obama stood up on that stage and talked about being happy with less. Like, to me, I'm just used to it. It's like it was just Obama talk. Both of you guys were like, huh, what?
Yeah, that's communism. That's the idea of communism, which I think scares a lot of people off. Wait, I want to be able to have more. I want to be able to make more for myself, for my family, for everyone else. I think that was such a bad decision.
But on top of that, Rhino, the fact that she doesn't have less.
Right.
It's not like she's practicing what she's preaching.
I'm good. Yeah. Y'all need to be less than good.
I mean, who says that?
Well, I mean, not only her, then, Oprah comes out and says it, and you're like, wait a minute. And then the more that they say it, and Tug, you bring it up all the time. Barack Obama's telling you that when he's got 3 houses, one of them on the ocean, then he's preaching to you about climate change, and he's building close to the ocean. It makes no sense whatsoever. They're trying to keep people in a box. They're trying to keep you to where you will never question the government. And I think a lot of people realize that. I also think that when you go into the schools and you start telling parents that we are in charge of your education, it takes a village to raise. No. It doesn't take a village. It doesn't take anyone. I raised my child. If I call to ask you to babysit, that doesn't mean I'm asking you to raise my child. So stop with the whole, it takes all of us to raise your children. No, it doesn't. I'll make the decisions for my children the way I'll make the decisions for myself. The government should have no interference in that. And I think a lot of people realize that.
Oh, what's been so much fun is to have this world of possibilities. We start talking about border security and we're like, whoa, I mean, who would think watching your border actually is something that would be so entertaining, that would be such a fun aspect. But then there's those tentacles. And Rhino, I think you've been nailing this too. When you start talking about the level of corruption we've seen with these cases around these different states, if you don't take advantage of rooting out corruption when you have all the controls of power that they never imagined you were going to have them again, I think we're leaving a little meat on the bone if you don't.
Yeah, I think it's very important to continue down that path of, hey, let's figure out what went wrong, because we're going to fix it. And I know that SB 202 did enough to help us here in the state of Georgia, but I love what the state election board is doing, and mostly Janice Johnson, who's been really on top of, I want all the stuff about double counting votes in Fulton County. I want documents, and she's trying to ask and subpoenaed for those documents. Now, of course, Democrats are freaking out, and so is Fulton County, because they don't want to give over documents. But if they've done nothing wrong, if this truly was an accident, that 3,000 votes got double counted and put into the system, let's figure out why that happened so it doesn't happen again. Because wouldn't you hate it if that happened and Trump was the one who was the beneficiary?
They'd raise Cain then.
Of course they would.
Right.
They're going to do whatever they can to block this, because they're going to go back back and say, hey, we're not going to go back to 2020. Yes, we need to go back and figure out exactly what went wrong in 2020. And if nothing went wrong, so be it.
But we know better than that.
And so do they, which is why they continue to block these things.
And I believe that as we're seeing the Super Friends come together, as we saw it at the top of the ticket, and now we're seeing this filter in with every Trump appointment. That, again, Senator Marco Rubio was last night, and I'm just rubbing my hands together going, all right, there's another guy that I know is no nonsense, is going to be ready to hit the ground running. But this still comes back to, all right, Attorney General, that's going to be the massive one. Because all I'm asking for is I just want fairness across the board in terms of the eyes of the law. That's it. Because for the last 4 years, I've seen what happens when you go from under Barack Obama, all right, a little bit of a left-leaning Attorney General to fully on weaponized going after your political opponents. You need to spin this back the other way where the law is blind, but if you happen to have played games with it, that's going to be your butt.
Absolutely right, man. And I love the fact that Marco Rubio is so hawkish against China. He understands the threat that the Chinese pose, and he's willing to take them to task. And I know Donald Trump is as well. That you couldn't ask for a better person than Marco Rubio, because I believe he understands what is happening around the world and the dangers that all of them pose to the United States. I mean, you even have the Iranians this morning. I mean, New York Times is reporting Iran's like, maybe we should talk to Donald Trump or something. That's the New York Times reporting this. I mean, you're just seeing things like this start falling into place, which is so impressive to me.
Yeah, look, I love Marco Rubio. I've always liked Marco Rubio. I thought he should be a VP pick at one point, and I still think he will be a VP pick, if not moving forward. I would hope so. This is a strong guy. This is a guy who's going to go in and really focus on what he needs to do. I'm excited about this pick. He's one of the most exciting picks. I like Elise Stefanik. I talked about her for the past 3 years about how strong I think she was.
You thought she would be a VP option.
I really did. Yeah. I really think that one day she will be. She's still young, but it really does scare me that we're pulling a really good, popular person out of New York.
Yeah, it does. Because especially with it trending a little bit in the right direction.
It does affect the balance, but I think getting the strongest leaders you can now into a area where they can succeed nationally from here on out, those are the kind of people you do need to find. I'd love to see Marjorie Taylor Greene get a spot here. There are a lot of good Georgia Republicans that I think Donald Trump needs to look at that helped him win Georgia and continue to go down. But Marco Rubio, that's a good pick, and so are some of the others I know we'll talk about later.
A foreign policy, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And that is what has been the problem with some of the people that were being discussed, where we went, well, okay, that's a war hawk. We know where it always goes. What they're looking at, when you see the Iranians start to go, it's because the economic conditions are going to change here.
And they already are.
And so when you have this loose alliance, it's largely economical between the Russians, the Iranians, the North Koreans. When you start putting pressure on one, you start to break the others apart. And again, they're not strong enough as an alliance. It's not like they're sharing, wild amounts of their military and all this sorts of data, that's out there. But all you have to do is push a pressure point on one of them, and the rest of them go, all right, cool, what do you want to do?
Yeah, it also helps when Netanyahu says, well, we got the Hezbollah leader, and they're like, well, we got another one. Done. And then, eventually they're going to sit back, and Iran, who's funding all this, goes, we're wasting money by putting these people in place. Israel is too strong. They're going to knock them out. But having Netanyahu on the side of Donald Trump, this is a good way to kind of calm down everything, because there is going to come a time where if Netanyahu is going to continue this against Iran, they realize he's going to start taking out a lot of their gas and oil production, and they're going to continue to do that. They're going to find where they're keeping some of their mass destruction weapons, and they're going to destroy that. And they know that Donald Trump at the same time is going to be like, we're going to make sure nobody buys anything from you. No oil. That's the kind of sanctions. Yeah, those are the kind of sanctions we need. That's where Biden, when you take away people's yachts, they don't care. When you take away the living of America, or of those people who are living in those countries, by saying, hey, we're taking business away, those people will go against the government. They know they can't stand that.
You have a systematic issue when it comes to the Chinese, and to a lesser extent the Russians, when it comes to feeding their communities. They have to be able to generate revenue in order to be able to do that. All right, well, when you start going at revenue sources, they start having instability. That's part of that pressure point that you start saying, hey, you're not going to be able to generate the money you were making beforehand.
which is exactly what we want to see. I mean, and that's the reason you're seeing the Iranians, they're talking to the Saudis all of a sudden. The phone call between the Saudis and the Iranians happened this past Sunday. Dude, they're bitter enemies. They despise each other. And yet, because Donald Trump has been elected, all of a sudden, these people that have hated each other for thousands of years are like, maybe we should just chat a little bit.
Hey, about those Abraham Accords, can we get in on that?
Yeah, maybe we should go forward with this thing. Maybe this looks pretty good. Just saying. I mean, he's not even in office yet. And he's already like a person that is leading the United States from afar. Can you imagine what he's doing or will be able to do when he actually sits in the Oval Office? When we continue on Extra 106.3, y'all remember Schoolhouse Rock? 312 was the magic number. Next on the Morning Extra. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
The only country in the world that had the ability to destroy the rest of the world and take it over and didn't do it.
We stopped the war, saved the planet, and then said, go live, you Germans can have Germany, Russia can have Russia. I mean, we didn't take their land. We could have taken them all.
We'd have salted the earth.
In fact,
they never rise again.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
As we head toward the end of 2024, it doesn't even sound right when you say it out loud. Central Heating and Air Conditioning would like to thank you for trusting them with your heating and air conditioning and home performance needs all year long. Here's what you should do. Your home, your safe space, the time you spend with your family, it can now be made safer with Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They have systems in place. To include healthy, fresh, clean, allergen-free air with proper ventilation. Carrier is the best in the business. Working with Central, the best in the business. You can save up to $2,000 on a new Carrier system if you need that. If you don't, you just need a repair to your current system. Doesn't matter what brand it is. They can repair anything. Then once that is done, get yourself set up with a maintenance agreement so they come out to your house twice a year and make sure that everything is in tip-top shape. Whatever you need, Central can do it for you when it comes to the air inside your home. Reach out to them. Chuck and his team been serving Atlanta since 1947. You can get them, 770-GET-HEAT. Very simple, 770-GET-HEAT. Or go to centralheat.com. That's centralheat.com.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. It's a great day in America. Congratulations, President Trump, on your decisive victory. And now, another news, the Safe House has the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And through the end of the year, we're offering huge rebates on all Browning safes. But wait, there's more. All gun safes are sales tax free at Atlanta Safe House. Yes, sales tax free. And remember, folks, don't let a crackhead or an illegal move or deliver your safe. So come down to the showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word HEDGE to 989898. That's HEDGE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply. Modular and offsite construction is booming. If you are an architect, building engineer, supplier, developer, or contractor, you can't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to the International Convention Center in Atlanta on November 20th. With the rising cost of traditional building, modular and offsite construction is changing the way companies build. It's quicker, cheaper, and offers a faster ROI. So don't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to Atlanta on November 20th. Register today at offsiteconstructionnetwork.com. That's offsiteconstructionnetwork.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
We're all back to busy schedules this time of year, school, work, everything else that's coming up. Hey, the holidays are around the corner. Don't let car trouble add to the stress of your day. Before you start putting all of those miles on your car, CarShield, America's most trusted vehicle protection company, wants you to consider one of their plans. Now, they provide plans for owners of new cars, high-mileage vehicles, or vehicles with expired manufacturing warranties. A broken AC unit can cost you up to $3,000. A broken water pump, $1,400. Are you prepared to pay out of pocket for repairs in this economy? CarShield doesn't just offer affordable repairs, they also provide jobs for 1,300 Americans. And they're here 24/7, keeping you safe on the road. Call CarShield today. Get your free quote and 20% off at 800-227-6100. As we head into the holiday season, save yourself from major repairs. Get a free quote and save 20% now at carshield.com/Beck. 800-227-6100. 800-227-6100. carshield.com/Beck. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, November 12th. Patricia Mealy, a 89-year-old woman who went missing from the Greenwood Assisted Living Facility in Marietta, has been found dead. Mealy, who was hearing impaired and new to the facility, was confused and left without her glasses. A couple who were part of the search effort were walking through a park when they discovered her body floating in a pond at a nearby cemetery. Police say there is no indication that foul play was involved as they continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Atlanta police responded to a crash scene on Campbellton Road after a driver of a sedan collided with the back of a MARTA bus last night. The driver, who was seriously injured, was taken to the hospital where they later died from their injuries. Several passengers aboard the bus were also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still under investigation. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have acquired infielder Nick Allen from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for minor league right-hander Jared Johnson. Additionally, Braves pitcher Chris Sale has been named a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. The winner will be announced on November 20th. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Tug, Rhino, and Front Office Los.
Can I admit something to you, both of you gentlemen?
Oh, wow.
And Joe.
How salacious it is.
Joe, that dirty man over there. Based on what was suggested by management, they were talking about how we're obviously having a late Thanksgiving this year. They talked about putting Christmas trees up early. I did it.
Oh, gosh. Are you serious?
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Y'all put your Christmas tree up already?
Both of them. I did it because I recognize this. So we're going to have the full week of Thanksgiving at the end of the month where we're going to be gone. We'll be in Texas. So basically, it's this week into next week, and then, so that's 2 weeks, right? Well, Christmas is really only going to hit for about 3 weeks in December. So if I was to put it up the week of, right after Thanksgiving, I'm basically putting it up for like 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
So I decided just to get a little bit more love out of this thing.
They were doing it in Charleston, too. All of downtown Charleston.
My kids love it.
And my wife loves it, too. She's going to want to do the same thing. I know this is coming sooner rather than later.
I put them up. Sorry, boys. Yesterday.
I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Yeah.
I put it up yesterday. I got them both up. Got the now not decorated or anything else, but
they're standing.
Just they're standing.
They're upright.
They're there.
Okay. I am mad at you. Sometimes you got to get into it.
And I won't do the outside. Like, I'm not going to put up the Christmas decoration. Well, not until we get into December.
Okay, got it.
But inwardly, I will allow this to occur.
My wife, for her Christmas gift this year, may be decorating the house.
That's her gift.
Pay for somebody to decorate the house because, I mean, like, it's gigantic. I would fall. I would kill myself. I'd be like Chevy Chase up there. It's just killing.
Just video.
I know. I don't want to.
For us.
Like, yeah. I think maybe that would, because we don't need anything, and that's something she loves more than anything. Well, we probably won't have that ready either, but that's a different story altogether. I don't know why you had to bring that up. Just pick the scabs, buddy. Just pick the scabs.
I'm sorry. Get a bunch of Home Depot buckets, and you know, if you go to like one of the camping stores, like REI, you could get a shower that's outside. You just hang it up, heat up the water,
pour the water in there.
At this point, what's what we're going to need.
Well, you know, these are great Christmas gifts. Go ahead, start writing them down. I thought you meant you were going to allow her to decorate for Christmas because she likes to have that kind of control.
No, I just mean the outside of the house.
You're going to pay for someone else to do it.
I was thinking that may be the Christmas gift, is that do it, because she's always wanted to have the whole house done.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way, dude. There's no way I'm getting that done. I'm not good at that stuff. And our house is like super high and down a hill, man. The back of that house, there's not a chance I'm climbing on the roof of the back of the house.
Now, I would volunteer, but do you really want lighted Trump 2024 we won fools on your roof?
Yeah, no.
I probably wouldn't hire me.
Yeah, it's not exactly what we're looking for. Look, I'm not opposed to somebody else
Trump
doing it.
claws on the front lawn.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. A friend of ours told us about a really, really reasonable guy that does it. You provide all the lights, and they come doing it, and like, because I've checked into it before, and it was like
$1,000.
No, well, actually, he does it cheaper than that.
I was about to say reasonable.
Yeah, it was $500.
Yeah,
and I went and checked on it one time before, and it was going to be $3,800.
I've heard $3,000 when it comes to that stuff, but a lot of times they're.
And I was like, not a chance.
Christmas lights are not expensive, but they're including the lights in the package, and they'll put them up and they'll take them down. But yeah, it's like $3,000.
Yeah, this guy he is $250. Put $250 put them up, $250 put them down. You just provide the lights. That's
not bad.
Dude, I was like,
that's worth it.
Is he a drunk? Like, is he gonna fall on your property and sue you?
I got good insurance. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're going to be calling Van Zandt Law before you know it.
Make the right call. Exactly. No, so some friends of mine.
Giving him the number.
This drunk fell on my property. I paid him $200 to put up lights. He's bleeding.
That's right. It's terrible news, man. Who knew? No, some friends of ours used him the last couple of years. And so, I don't know, we got into a discussion about this very same thing. And they're like, no, we got this guy that does it for everybody. I mean, you better get in early because if you don't, he'll be booked up.
Man, that white Christian privilege.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's
man.
what you got.
Well, but I mean, if you're going to buy yourself, or you're going to buy your wife a ring or a necklace, it's going to be $500.
Yeah, no.
I mean, give me something that doesn't cost $500 these days.
She'd appreciate that so much.
Oh my gosh! Like kids are going to get new cell phones this year, right? Not my kids, but some kids. And that's going to be $1,200. You know, so when I started doing the math, I was just like, I mean, she would get more enjoyment out of that than anything else I could buy her.
Absolutely,
anything. Yeah. And there's nothing. And I'd considered it before. We just couldn't afford it. Now, if we can get in time, I'm going to make a call this afternoon and see if we can get in time.
$5 says he still buys her a bunch of gifts.
No, that'll be it, man. That will be it. We got a kid in college. Dear God. We took him grocery shopping.
Oh, forget it.
Dude, we spend as much as we do for ourselves for him, just, over at Harris Teeter, which is owned by Kroger. So at least you get to use your Kroger Plus card.
Yeah.
And get fill up of gas, Anyway, 404-741-1230. You heard Donald Trump talking about he would pay off Kamala's $20 million in debt. What a kind gesture.
What a nice man.
Dave's in Kennesaw. Dave, what's on your mind?
Well, guys, me and a bunch of my buddies were at Taco Mac Saturday watching Georgia have a meltdown. So we decided talking about politics was going to be more entertaining than that game was. And a buddy of mine brought up a brilliant point. He said that Kamala Harris's campaign raised over $1 billion in 3 months.
That's right.
And ended their campaign $20 million in debt. He said, do you really want somebody with that kind of economic sense running this country's economy?
No. The answer is no, Dave. That's the reason she didn't get elected.
Well, that's what we've been talking about for so long. This woman is wasting money left and right on buying celebrities, buying votes, doing whatever she can. She raised all this money and wasn't able to manage anything with it. She couldn't win with the money. And again, that is what you think of when you think about politics. Whoever gets the most money is going to get the most ad buys, and those ad buys are going to propel them to a victory in those states. Where she spent her money the most, she lost every single one of those states. This is a woman who doesn't understand an economy. Why would you vote for her?
I'm just glad that the money didn't camouflage what all Democrats knew about her in 2020. She's not likable.
Yeah.
She's not electable.
Or relatable. She's not any of those.
I mean, it was really easy when you're in California and you've been kissed by Willie Brown. Mwah, that, things worked out for you moving forward. But when it came to any sort of national prominence outside of California, no one would vote for her. And it didn't matter how much money you put behind her, how many Oprahs, how many Beyoncés, how many Taylor Swifts. Everyone just said, you're not likable, and I don't trust you. That was it.
If the economy was great, if the border was secure,
that would have masked a little bit.
Yeah, if gasoline prices didn't look like they were going up and continuing to go up, if the stock market didn't look like, hey, we're heading for a crash, which we still are. Don't get all excited about the highs. But the reality is, people looked back and said, I don't care about the joy. I don't care about Beyonce jumping on stage, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, P. Diddy endorsing her, whoever. I don't care anymore. What I do care about is taking care of my family.
312. That is the new high right there. That is the new level of success. That's the number that we should always be shooting for, Rhino.
Man, I was hoping it would be. And like we all talked about, if this is a fair election, there's no way this isn't a landslide victory. The American people spoke, and they said, Kamala Harris, you have offered us nothing. Everything is going to Donald Trump, and boy, was this a butt-whooping, a landslide. Democrats got destroyed and now have to rethink their entire strategy and their entire party. There's so much divisiveness in this party, but they knew they were going to lose this. They knew they didn't have momentum. They hoped, they prayed that Kamala Harris would, well, they didn't pray, but they were hoping that Kamala Harris was able to really just kind of energize people. And she did. Don't get me wrong. She did for the first 2 weeks. Then when she couldn't, tell anybody what her issues were, how she was going to fix the economy, rather than just saying, I grew up in a middle-class family, there was no substance. So they decided, hey, we got to start working on the House and the Senate because we can't lose all three.
I tell you, it's gratifying, is encouraging, hopeful for the future of America. That's what it is. But it is a daily fight that Donald Trump was going to have to continue to fight every day. None of the stuff that they're quiet about now will stay quiet. Although I will say there's been a couple weird flip-flops, like Adam Schiff in the LA Times talking about how he's open to working with Trump. And I was like, what? What? How could this be the case? And I don't expect that he's genuine about it necessarily. I mean, there's nothing that Adam Schiff offers. No. What is it that he's going to be like working with Adam Schiff? Trump's going to go, let me go get Adam Schiff on this. I know he'll do a good job.
The rabbit has the gun.
Yep.
All right. These are the people that were the most outspoken and the most, when it came to illegality, were pushing things to try and get Donald Trump. Now, if you tell me, hey, I didn't agree with Trump policy, I'm going to be a target. Sure. I don't believe so one bit.
No.
Yeah.
If you skirted the law and colored outside the lines and did everything you could in the interest of, I'm going to not just try and I'm going to try and bankrupt you, or I'm going to try and make sure you can't hold office again. You tried to put that man in prison.
Mm-hmm. And got him shot at twice.
And so if this just so happens that you end up having to reap it, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that's vengeful one bit.
No, this isn't vengeful. What this is Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and every player behind the scenes that pushed false narratives and lies and continue to lie, and then got involved with the media, got involved with the whole Russian hoax and all the things. They're afraid that the truth is going to come out. They're afraid that Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Jill Biden, who voted for Donald Trump, by the way, who are going to be able to get to those classified documents, to get to all the information. That's why they wanted to keep him out so bad, because he is going to expose the swamp. He is going to expose both Republicans and Democrats who broke the law. And he is going to say, hey, here's what we have. Here's what it is. This is why they're getting prosecuted. I'll give you the full truth. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of everything they did behind the American people's back, all the money they stole from the American people, all the lies they told them. They'll never be able to run for office again.
Another person, John Bolton, is now saying, no, Trump did not say that our veterans are suckers and losers. John Bolton said this to the New York Times. He says, I was there, and I'd be willing to swear on anything that he did not say those things. You got that. That's another one. You got Schiff saying all of a sudden. You got Bolton saying all of a sudden.
Again.
And then one more. Yeah. Let me give you one more. Bill Gates. I'm sure y'all saw his tweet.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward to working with President Trump to make, America even better than it already is. That dude's on the Jeffrey Epstein list, I bet.
Oh.
There's a reason all of a sudden he donated $50 million to Kamala's campaign. Mm-hmm. He called him everything that the left called him. It's there's more and more people going, oh my God, he's going to release these lists, the Epstein list, the P. Diddy list. He's going to release it all, and I've got to do what I can to self-preserve, I guess.
Bill Gates is going to get caught using Microsoft to silence people. He's going to get caught with the farms that he was buying, what he's been doing, and he's going to be exposed for the fraud that he is and what he was getting from the Biden-Harris administration.
The people that are leaving this country, it's because they're on those lists.
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, you better hurry up and get out.
You better go on.
Gone.
There's only one.
Gone.
There's only one of them that's going to shock me when it occurs.
Which one?
Allegedly. I'm just saying hypothetically. What would be the biggest surprise?
Oh, you're asking.
Kamala.
No.
And Diddy?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, God.
I've said that.
Come on.
If
we
that
had this discussion.
That would hit the same way Cosby would hit.
I'm telling you. I believe that.
If that ever occurred with one of these.
I know it's all alleged.
Yeah.
But you keep seeing that name. You keep
circulating around.
Dude, I'm telling you. I brought that up 2 or 3 times with our friend group, and everybody's just appalled that I could even.
It's America's dad.
I'm just telling you. I know it's alleged. It is alleged. We making sure we say alleged.
Hypothetically, if that did occur, that would be the biggest impact in my mind.
I won't believe it until there's real evidence. But when there is, if there is, God, that would be devastating to a lot of people.
Show you the videos and you'll go,
I'd be more surprised.
See any videos from any of that.
I'd be more surprised that his name's not on the list than I would if it were.
I just don't know if there'd be anyone who's more shocking than that.
No. I can't think of anybody. If you can think of someone, 404-741-1230. Or you can find us at Extra 1063 across the social media platforms. When we come back, the new border czar teaches AOC, man, she's hot, teaches her what zero tolerance
You'll never get past it.
means. No, she's good looking. She's just dumb as a bag of hammers. Good Lord. We'll talk about it next on Extra 1063. Tug, Rhino, and Los. Until 10.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 1063 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 1063 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Hey, it's Rhino here for my friends over at True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. They're your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, Trump's in office. What do I need to worry about now? Well, you still need to worry because it's not about that. It's about having the essentials when accidents happen or emergencies happen, like a hurricane. If it were to come up and disrupt your life and you weren't able to get a fresh supply of water, or if you weren't able to get any kind of food, electricity, or even be able to protect your home from looters. Well, that's what True Prep in Marietta is for. They have everything you need, whether it's freeze-dried food, already prepackaged, ready to go, so that you'd be able to just go down, grab it, and go ahead and start eating and making sure your family's safe. They also have water filtration because you need water for freeze-dried food, and you want to make sure that you have a clean water supply that doesn't depend on electricity like most filters. So you need to make sure that you're really thinking these things through. But that's the good news. You don't really have to think. You need to go to True Prep in Marietta on Cop Parkway and talk to the experts there. Matt and Joey, both Georgia Tech engineers. Amy knows everything about freeze-drying food, including the Harvest Right freeze dryer, which she uses all the time. Go check it out. Make sure that you have everything you need, including your water filtration, your first aid kits, your firearms, firearm accessories, and your ammo. And they have it all at the lowest prices around. Tell them Rhino sent you down there. They'll take care of you right away. But also, if you want to start and you don't know where to begin, they even have workshops. You can go online to their website and find their Intro to Emergency Preparedness workshop that they do right there in Marietta on Cop Parkway. So go check it out at trueprep.com. That's TRU prep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with our friends over at True Prep.
Foundation repair isn't pretty, but at Atlanta Ramjack, we make it easy. If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with the repair. Why call us? Foundation repair is all we do. We have highly trained estimators that will thoroughly evaluate your home and only recommend what is needed. If you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Just ask Mike Plant, President and CEO of the Braves Development Company.
There's 7 power cubicles that power the ballpark and the battery. And when we're building everything with 8 different contractors and this site's on fire, one of my guys came in one day and said, "Hey, we need to figure out where we're going to put these cubicles." I said, "All right, what do they do?" They said, "Well, it's all the power and the juice for the whole stadium. We're going to need to work with Georgia Power. They need a location." Right away, they saw our vision, they got our vision, they understood it, and they knew they needed to be a big part of that. And that's what I love about working with them is I've never heard no from them. I've always heard them say, "All right, I understand your vision. I understand what you're trying to accomplish. Give us a little time. We'll come back to you with a plan."
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
Are you concerned about securing your family's future and assets? Look no further than Nelson Elder Care Law. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we offer absolute assurance and peace of mind through our comprehensive asset protection services. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to explore how we can safeguard your legacy and provide tailored solutions for your family's well-being.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where this weekend we're inviting you to our Takori holiday event, where you can shop an extended collection of engagement rings, wedding bands, and new fashion jewelry, all handcrafted in the USA. Takori's collection includes new and trending designs, classic styles with a signature touch, and incredible matching wedding bands. They're fully customizable, so you can try on all your options and have your dream ring handcrafted in time for a holiday proposal, all with the help of the expert team at D. Geller & Son. As always, we have the best loose diamond value in Atlanta, and we'll have an incredible selection, plus jewelers on site to get your new Takori ring ready on the spot. To make it even more special, you can get up to 24 months 0% APR financing, or up to $1,000 back in Amex gift cards. Just like the holidays, this amazing event only comes once a year. So come join us at our Takori holiday event, only at D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Wherever you are in Georgia, you can stream Extra 106.3 and crystal clear digital with the all-new Extra 106.3 app. Get Extra's live on-air stream in real time, or go back and listen to all your favorite shows, Neil Bortz, or original podcasts, no matter where you go. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Donald Trump's not even in the White House yet. He's not going to be there until January, late January. And things are happening all around him and all around the world. We brought this up earlier in the show, the fact that the Iranians are all of a sudden wanting to talk to Donald Trump. They're wanting to talk to the Saudis. They're changing, at least some of them. I'm not saying everybody. This is the New York Times report saying they are absolutely open to the discussion. You see all kinds of things like that. I could go through a laundry list of things that are happening, and Donald Trump's not even in office. Can you imagine the way it'll happen when he gets into office? It's going to be amazing.
You know what makes you a strong leader? When you're not even in office and people are already afraid of what you're going to do. But they know how he stopped them from invading while he was president. They know the strength he had, the ability to really shut them down and say, go ahead, try it. I dare you. Here's a picture of your house. Don't do it. They didn't. Yeah. So I think that shows what kind of strength, what kind of fear he puts in foreign leaders if they misstep, that they'll be taken care of.
Well, you're referring to showing the Taliban leader. I got a picture of your home. Don't touch the Americans or else I'm going to blow your house up.
Byron Donalds told that story. Remember when he was saying the most amazing thing I'd ever seen was that one?
Fascinating story. But I love that we're in this position where it's not going to be on energy independence. It's not going to be on, hey, you can start developing on federal lands again. Like, all of that's going to happen. We're not going to have a big fight there. What's going to happen is when we're really going to mass deport people. That's going to be like the first fight where they're going to, if you thought the whole claim of Nazism was strong during the election, gear yourself up, gird the loins.
Just wait.
You're going to be called everything horrible in the book, and they will be talking about, look, the only thing we're missing are Jews and rail cars. Well, no, these people are here illegally and they're not supposed to be, and they're getting a very comfortable one-way ticket out of here. They ain't going to any oven or work camp.
So silly. And you see President Sheinbaum in Mexico has already reached out to Donald Trump congratulating him on the win. You saw that, 150,000 person caravan already breaking up. They were headed to the southern border. If you recall, we're going to take a little bit of a flashback to when Tom Homan, he had to school AOC about illegal border crossings. This is what you can expect out of Homan.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a child and I don't know. I've just been told things to say. That's all this is. Look, this was one of my favorite parts because we've played this before, because this was Tom Homan, a New York police officer, a tough guy. He understands the law better than anyone else when it comes to border security. He gets it. This is why, as the director of ICE, they said, hey, we need to bring you in. You understand what we need to do, how you can do it responsibly. I love this pick, and I love the fact that he knows what he's talking about.
Well, as he was talking when he had the moment on Fox, when they were basically asking him about, what are the plans, what would you be looking to do? And as he pointed out, we're going to follow the law. And if we need to send more agents to New York, that's what we'll do. It's very direct. It's very simple. But the faster you rip off this Band-Aid, and the initial estimates are 1.2 million who either overstayed or have committed a crime, they're still here, or we recognize they came across as criminals and they're still here. That's not 10 million, that's not 20 million, but it's the start of what we currently have, that maybe you start cleaning up some of your areas of Colorado or San Antonio where you have criminal gangs that are taking over apartment complexes.
And some people are going to self-deport, too, once they realize that, like in New York, for example, when Mayor Adams said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We're not giving people handouts anymore. And there are already people leaving New York. So this seems to be a natural trend to, hey, if the money's not here, if the opportunity's not here, let's just head back anyway. That way we don't have to worry about dealing with the authorities on it.
Yeah, I think you cut off the funding, right away. There's certain funding that, needs to be, but it's not for them. It's for the American people. That means we need to be funding the people like ICE and the Border Patrol to make sure that these people aren't coming across, and the ones that are trying to come across legally that have criminal records, we need that funding to go back to the DNA testing, the program to see murders, whatever, blah, 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 before they even get in. This is an easy fix. You start with exactly what Carlos said. You go into the areas where they're breaking the law, they're holding people hostages in their own apartment complexes. You go in, you grab them, and you throw them across the other border. Obviously, they're going to do it a lot nicer. I don't think they even need to do that with the criminals. But this is going to be a fact of life. And if you've broken the law, if you have rape in your background, if you have any kind of criminal history back to where you're come from and you got here illegally, there's no reason for you to be here. It's that simple, that's easy. Now, what you have to do, the ones that did come here legally and are still waiting, and they've been good citizens, well, then maybe you put them into the program to get them through. But any of the ones that are already here, that came here in a legal way, you let them go through the process first. You get rid of the people who broke the law to get here.
There's seriously going to be people that have asylum claims, depending on their country of origin, their religion, background. Some of those are going to be legitimate. You have some that have gone through the port of entry legally. All right, they're part of the process. You then weigh it out and you see what happens. But when you're talking about people, when it comes to, let's say, some of these Venezuelan gangs, when you're talking about people that have had murder convictions or rape convictions in their home country and they are here, sorry.
Yeah,
you got to go.
Got to go.
Well, you're going to just have the anger coming from the news media, and this is going to be a very direct topic.
Yeah.
Hey, we're sending out murderers and rapists. Here's what the laundry list of what they did is.
But what about their family? What about their kids? Well, they shouldn't have murdered somebody.
You don't get to be here. If somebody had committed murder in France and tried to come here, we would say, let me hand you over to the French.
Yeah, no, thank you.
That's all we're doing.
Absolutely right. And I love the fact when he says sanctuary cities will not stop me from deporting criminals. We're coming is his quote. I just saw it in the New York Post. We're coming.
Well, as I remember when Texas tried to enhance their border security and the Biden administration said, no, we're in charge of this.
Right.
All right, well, as I like to say, the rabbit has the gun now.
Absolutely.
The federal authorities get to tell New York, state of Massachusetts, state of California, no, we're in charge of this.
Trump is putting together an America First cabinet, learning from his mistakes in 2016 after a Fox News update on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
And I'm talking about prescription drugs being advertised. We're teaching our kids drugs are the answer. Should they be permitted to advertise? Yeah, go ahead. Name the drug, the side effects, and tell them what it can do for you, and get the hell off the tube.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
If you needed one more reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler, get this. Diamonds Direct maintains involvement in the entire diamond process and handpicks the best just for you. You see, any jeweler can claim to be a direct importer or have so-called partnerships overseas, but Diamonds Direct has special access that others simply don't have. Nobody can get closer to the source than Diamonds Direct. Indeed, Diamonds Direct is recognized in the industry as a world diamond powerhouse with unrivaled buying power and decades of inside connections that go back to their roots as actual diamond cutters. Bottom line, Diamonds Direct is without question the jeweler here that can truly offer the absolute best value. We're true talking direct importer prices on hand-selected diamonds that come straight from the source. Make no mistake, Diamonds Direct refuses to be undersold on GIA-certified diamonds. And we challenge you, let us prove it. Diamonds Direct, your source for the ultimate diamond value. Proud to call ATL home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Our nation's economic problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight. Dr. Ron Paul here, and this is why I recommend diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold, a proven bedrock in any economy, with my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold. Text the word HEDGE to 989898. That's HEDGE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
The end of the year is closing in, and with it, another tax year comes to an end. As you prepare to file your taxes, consider the efficiency of your tax strategy. Have you maximized your IRA and Roth contributions? Do you have an RMD strategy in place? Are you making moves now to maximize your future tax-free income? Not only is the year-end fast approaching, but the 2017 tax cuts sunset at the end of 2025, placing many Americans in a higher tax bracket. Don't just report your tax taxes, plan for them. Contact Master Plan Retirement Consultants now to create a retirement plan specifically designed for you. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation where we can illustrate your retirement outlook and create a plan together for your future. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies. Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Sonders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
53-47. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That'll be the new Republican Senate majority, flipping 4 seats with the last race now called Democrat Ruben Gallego in Arizona beating Republican Kerry Lake.
I'm a husband, a Marine, a father, and a proud Arizonan. And with the results we saw tonight, your next senator from the great state of Arizona.
And senators looking to take over as leader are making their pitches to replace Mitch McConnell stepping down as leader. President-elect Trump is expected to nominate another senator, Florida Republican Marco Rubio, as Secretary of State. Fox confirms that Florida House Republican Mike Waltz is the pick for National Security Advisor. The head of the United Nations tells an annual climate change summit it's the rich causing the problem and the poor paying the price.
COP29 in Azerbaijan has the goal of raising up to $1 trillion to help developing countries cope with the effects of climate change. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres with this urgent appeal.
The world must pay up or humanity will pay the price.
The US delegation has been trying to contain allies' concern over last week's presidential election.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. At least 35 people are reported killed, 43 more injured in Zhuhai, China, when a driver rams his car into people exercising at a sports center. Police say he was mad about a divorce settlement. Today's the annual Zhuhai Air Show for China's military. News of the incident is being heavily censored on Chinese social media. Haiti's international airport is shut down until at least next Monday after gangs shot at 2 commercial flights, one landing in Port-au-Prince, the other taking off from Port-au-Prince. Rounds of gunfire echoed through the streets as heavily armed officers ducked behind walls and civilians ran. America's listening to Fox News.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry!
Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This is Tucker Carlson. You're listening to Atlanta's only conservative talk station, Xtra 106.3, worldwide on the Xtra app.
Front office was trying to be a comedian this morning. and he has flipped us over to MSNBC's Morning Joe.
Yeah, I'm not really happy with you right now.
No, I gotta tell you,
Now, this is important.
I think it goes the other way. I think it's great because it looks like everybody on that panel, which there's, I think, 5, and then you got Joe and his whoever the lady is there, his wife or whatever her name is.
If I had to go home to her, I would literally say, I'm going to go get my toenails pulled out before I go home today.
That's exactly right.
Because that would be better than going home to her.
She looks like she smelled poop.
I like the way you put it.
Is unbelievable.
I think for anybody in their car, whether you smelt it or that moment where you realize you stepped in it and you look down at your shoe, the entire panel looks just like that.
It's the NBC crew.
Oh, God. And that's the worst. Isn't it the worst? Because if you accidentally step in it, and it, I don't know how quickly that scent travels, but it's faster than the speed of sound or light because it's immediate. And you're like, oh! That face is on everybody on the entire panel.
Yeah, there's only 2 smells like that. One, if you get gas on your hand when you're pumping gas, and 2 is when you step in it. Yep. And they've stepped in it so much. I'm surprised. They look like this almost every day, I'd assume. I don't watch enough. I usually only see clips of, they're married, right, Joe and her?
Yes.
I don't even remember her name. She's so irrelevant. But they just look like miserable people today. Oh, I feel so bad for them. Their woke mind virus has got them all sad.
It's
Minka
Brzezinski.
There you go.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, there we go. Wow.
Yeah.
She didn't even take his last name.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Strong women don't do that, Doug.
I'm a feminist.
Well, if you want to know about feminism, you should find a clip. I'll try to share it at Tug Coward if I go back and find it myself, of Megyn Kelly. Yes, I guess yesterday talking about feminism. And, dude, she goes off. And the beauty is she's talking about her support of strong women and opportunities for women, which I completely understand. But then she says, here's where feminists get it wrong. They think in their path to empowering women and opportunities that they have to poop on men and they have to hate everything about them. You can't be you can't have a great relationship with your father. You have to hate your brother. You have to hate your brother-in-law. You have to hate everybody that you know that's a man just to be able to advance the ideas of women and opportunities for women. And she was like, that's completely wrong, and that's why I've never called myself a feminist. And she's like, and if you don't understand that, then you are, well, I'll just let you go finish. Dude, what she says is a home run, and it can't be repeated on these FCC airwaves. So we just, I'll leave it there, but it's terrific. 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. Last hour, though, so we were talking about how Donald Trump has learned from his mistakes of 2016 when he got put into office, and he wasn't sure about making all of these appointments, so he relied on people in the swamp to help him do that. This time around, a little different.
This is so encouraging. And I'll just take you back to January of 2017. And I'll just give you some names where you recognize, okay, here's where some of the issues that went on. For instance, when it came to Attorney General, which is going to be the most important decision he's going to make, I think, when it start talking about the early start to this process of setting the law back to being the law in this country and not weaponizing it any longer against political opponents. Remember, his first Attorney General was Jeff Sessions. And do you remember what the first big thing he did was? Well, I know y'all are investigating the president of Russian collusion, but I'm going to recuse myself from this.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. Like, what do you mean you're recusing? You're the Attorney General of what turns out to be a wildly illegal operation that was conducted by the Hillary campaign in conjunction with the FBI and the CIA. And you're recusing yourself of this?
Dirtbag.
To then move over to William Barr, who couldn't be more establishment in terms of what he represented. And yes, now he's going to draw it, well, you know what? I'll put together a special counsel to look into what they were doing on their side. But we're not going to play tit for tat. That was his quote. We're not going to play political tit for tat. But that's just Attorney General. You can go across the board, and so many of these, even from cabinet on down, there were hires where you said that was not the the right person for this job, and that is not a mistake that's being emulated when we get to January of 2025.
Yeah, I love what he's doing now because he learned that the swamp wasn't just some of the Democrats, but also the establishment Republicans. And
hard lesson. That was a hard lesson.
Yeah, it was a hard lesson. And when you have a whole bunch of snakes, it's hard to tell which ones are the ones that are venomous and which ones are the ones that are actually going to help you kind of get those rats that are underneath your house. He had to figure out who's who and how deep it goes because the deep state is deep and it does go deep. And you have to find the ones that are really connected. And I think he's learned a valuable lesson in the ones that he's picking. So, yeah, I know some Republicans are going to be afraid. That's why you see certain people that consider themselves Republicans start to get nervous because, well, they have no more military-industrial complex funding. They know that they've been involved in some really bad things, and they might get called out on it.
I hope so. That's what I want to see. And I want to see him go in and absolutely wreck house. That's what we have elected him for. That's the mandate that he was given. That's what people expect. They expect the border to be closed. They expect there to be a deportation, a large deportation. Is it going to sting? And Los brought it up in the last hour. Get ready. It is going to sting. And 96% of the news media is 100% against Donald Trump. So they are going to go kicking and screaming. They're going to call you every name. They're going to call him every name. Who cares?
January 2017, Rex Tillerson is named the Secretary of State. Okay, that lasted basically a year before it was, all right, listen, we're going to make this change here. It's going to be Mike Pompeo, which we've now seen. All right, if you want to talk about somebody who is pretty much aligned as far as an establishment Republican, again, wasn't the worst decision, but at the same time didn't really fit the Trump agenda to a T. All right, who does? Marco Rubio.
Yes, he does.
So you want to talk about the difference in what's going on in cabinet selections, and we'll see what happens moving forward, because a lot of this starts there and then filters down where it becomes, all right, I got to make 1,000 appointments. All right, if I've got the right people in my cabinet, then I can defer some of this to, all right, give me more people that fit our agenda, that are going to be drivers of this agenda, and let's make sure that we're doing our best. You have to root out the swamp, not just from the top, but it's the institutional areas where you start getting rid of the people, such as that one crazy woman with FEMA who's been fired because they were told not to help homes in North Carolina that had a Trump sign. All right, that's the state. That is the deep state. That is how it activates. And they don't need instructions. They just operate how they operate. That's the mentality you need to get out of this government.
I love the fact that he's going to fire all kinds of judges. I love the fact that he's going to fire lawyers. I love the fact that he's going to go in and gut organizations. A little later, we got Angela Morbido, who worked in the Department of Education, on the fact that he said he's going to get rid of the Department of Education altogether. When you take a machete to it, I'm going to stand up and salute. This is what I've been waiting for the majority of my adult life. Why do we let this bloated government push us around? They work for us. And Donald Trump is finally going to set that up on a platter and make it true.
Yeah, and I like some of the hires so far. I still have questions. I don't get the Kristi Noem thing, but I'll see. I mean, she's a strong leader, so
yeah, I like
expect
her a lot, man.
to, but she's made so many weird decisions and mistakes that, she's going to be picked apart for her job as kind of a border czar as well with Tom Homan. But I do like her as the DHS. I just would like to see a little bit more of a background in that status, but I hope she can handle it. She's strong. So, but I do know that she is going to be someone who cares about this country, who has set her state up for the, correct in the correct direction, and has done a great job as a governor there. So I'll wait to see on that hire.
But just find the person that they're not going to pick apart or question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to do that to everybody, no matter what.
His standard is going to be, and I believe it runs through two things. First, does it pass the Donald Trump smell test of what direction that this MAGA movement is looking to go? All right, that's the first sniff. The next one is, are you loyal? And if you've been loyal in the past, plus, okay, that is the difference. And when I say it's so different from his 2016 into 2017 hires versus these are loyalists. These are people that are not going to subvert his form of government and what he wants to do, because he only basically gets 2 years. It's 2 years, and then he's a lame duck after that. So you got to get after it and get after it right away.
Yeah, one of the bonuses of her, obviously, was that she was one of the only governors to say, we're a border state, too, and started sending the National Guard down there to help Texas and make sure that we could secure that border. So I'll give her credit there for sure. So But as a governor, I don't know. I just felt like there's something else for her there rather than Department of Homeland Security. Hey, I like her, so let's see what happens with her. But I think all the hires so far have been top notch.
Me too.
And we'll see how they perform.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like when the rubber meets the road, let's see the way that they are able to handle themselves, the way that they're able to implement the America First plan. That's what I want to see. That's as long as they can do that, I think you can't lose.
Yeah, here's what I do know. I do know that if Kristi Noem did go down there and acted like Mayorkas and was like, no, the border's secure, and we had 2 million in, he'd be like, you're fired.
Yeah, right.
And he has no problem firing people that aren't doing their job. Unlike the Democrats, who just continue to allow people to have their jobs when they were completely failing at what they were doing. I do trust that Donald Trump knows that, hey, do this right, otherwise you're going to be fired.
Yeah.
But this is the difference, in my opinion, of again, the first go-around and the second go-around. The first go-around, just as Donald Trump talked about it in all the podcasts he went on, talked about it with Joe Rogan. He's like, I won the position. I didn't know how to do this job yet. He knew how to lead industry. He knew how to lead a company, but this is a completely different job. And one of the issues was the amount of people when they talked about, oh, look at all the turnover in the Trump administration, because once he found out you weren't good at the job, you were fired. And remember, that used to be look how many people Trump has fired. It's a mayhem over there. No, it turned into, you're not good at this job, let me go find somebody else. What happens when you start with somebody who's good at this job because you've been vetting them for 8 years?
Yeah, then on top of that, man, just the fact that when Kamala was firing everybody, and it was like a whisper. Nobody said a word because it was the flip, right? That's the hypocrisy that happens. And then when Trump went in the first time, he expected the government worked for him.
Yeah.
And were going to be supportive of him. He had no idea what the deep state actually was at the time. And then that's when that whole drain the swamp came around, right? And we started hearing about that because he learned quickly that those people are not on your side. They're not on America's side. This time around, everybody that he puts in place is on the side of the United States of America.
Yeah, look, I think everybody's looking now saying, hey, America's done it right. They may not like Donald Trump, but they know, hey, that's not a place to be reckoned with at this point. They're too strong. We can't take advantage of them in any way whatsoever. And I love it. I love the fact that he's putting together this strong team. I think Marco Rubio's great. I think whoever else he's going to pick, there's still some names out there. I want to see Marjorie Taylor Greene get something. I think she would have been good at the DHS, too. I mean, that's a bulldog who's not going to back down from protecting our borders and protecting our country, and has been an America First candidate from the beginning. So I'd like to see her fit in somewhere, but he might just say, hey, we're going to keep you in the state of Georgia for a while. We'll see what happens there.
I love that MSNBC is showing some of their exit polling that basically shows them. Now they're starting to tell their audience how badly you were beaten on what actually mattered on exit polling. And I think a lot of this filters into what you're going to start seeing over the next several months when The View starts getting into their mass deportation talk. And now
they got into it a little bit yesterday.
They've turned it into, well, this is what the country voted for. Mm-hmm. You're damn right this is what the country voted for across the board in 7 swing states, and we're talking about 74 million votes so far for Donald Trump. This is a mandate.
Yeah.
What happened in 2020 was not a mandate.
No,
we're talking about 40,000 people that swung the election. This is going, I'll have to do the numbers to show you the difference in the amount of people that said, this is what we want versus what we're getting as of right now.
I was so surprised that I read from Rasmussen. Scott Rasmussen said, well, this wasn't a landslide. I was like, wow.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
What?
Right?
Then what? How would you describe? He was like, it's a very strong victory, but not a landslide. Like, buddy, I don't know what a landslide. Yeah, I don't know what a landslide looks like to you, but that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I mean, what did he want? All 50 states, I guess,
suppose,
right? He's
yeah.
like, oh, even the ones without IDs have voted for Kamala Harris. You want those as well? No, this was a mandate by the American people. I think most people realize that, and I don't believe they didn't realize it before this. They were just trying to cover because they realized the American people want to talk about issues. Even Jeff Duncan talked about, whoa, this is a mandate. His exact quote was, Trump didn't just win, he earned a mandate.
Welcome back, Jeff.
Oh, welcome back, my butt. This guy's a piece of garbage. Listen, I don't want to hear from Jeff Duncan at all. He'll be on CNN, do your little thing. This is the weird part about what Jeff Duncan did. I campaigned all around for Harris, and what I found out was 73% really don't have any confidence that this country's going in the right direction. So then why did you run with Harris? Because they were the ones in charge. If this country was doing so bad, you ran because you didn't like it. And that's what these Republicans, part of the swamp, they're all trying to stay relevant at this point. Absolutely. To hold on to power and hold on to a job. Jeff Duncan's not relative anymore. He's not relevant. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's not relevant at all anymore. He is gone, and he should never hold office again.
Gone.
This is a man who says, oh, well, I understand why, because the economy wasn't good. This isn't good. Donald Trump did a great job by winning this campaign because he talked about issues, and I ran a campaign just based on joy. That's what you did. You went against really good ideas about keeping the border safe, making sure that the American people were going to be prosperous, and you ran to the other side because you wanted power, you wanted money from CNN, and now you're coming back saying, well, hopefully he'll do well. Hey, this is going to be great. She missed a good opportunity.
Hit me with an all shucks.
Why would you even go with the most Marxist, socialist ideas, things that would hurt American people? You knew she was lying, and you still campaigned for her.
All he cares about is power and money. Wherever he can get that, that's where he's going to be. No principles whatsoever, and you've seen it on display on national television most every night.
All right, we're talking nationwide, about 45,000 votes in a very weird election in 2020 that basically swung the election for Joe Biden. Do you know that if you just took the votes in Georgia and Pennsylvania alone, it's 260,000 votes that went Donald Trump's way? That's not even going through the other 5 swing states. By that time, we're going to get near 1 million votes. This was not 45,000 like we saw in 2020. This was an avalanche.
Absolutely, it was. And it was funny, that night I was talking to my son who called me, and I was like, here's why everything's going to be okay. When you looked at the lead, it's exactly what Los was just saying. Every time it was 100,000 plus, 150,000 plus, 200,000 votes more.
Well, that's again, Jeff Duncan pointed out the suburbs. He didn't expect them to win suburbs. They didn't expect mothers to stand up for their children and their rights, and that's a big thing. He also said the only reason, she only had 107 days. Whose fault is that?
Yeah.
They had a president in there for 3.5 years. They took him out.
Nancy Pelosi's blaming Joe Biden.
Yeah, of course.
If he would have given us time, we would have had an open primary.
Well, maybe if you didn't hide it, you should have never put him up in the first place. You knew where he was on day one, you bunch of hypocrites and you liars. Jeff Duncan, go away. Move.
Please do go away. Talkmaster Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. He will join us next on the Morning Extra.
What will happen on day one after the new president is sworn in? Executive orders will fly. Try to come up with some ideas in what those executive orders will be.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
You heard Front Office Lowe's yesterday talking about putting his Christmas tree up already. Goodness gracious. Already?
It happened.
It happened. So everybody knows the holidays is right around the corner. I mean, I guess really you could say in 3 weeks, the majority of the holidays kicks off with Thanksgiving. The folks at Southern Exteriors want to do something special for a special family. Their Home for the Holidays roof giveaway. You can nominate families that are deserving that could use a brand new roof just in time for the holidays. Until November 30th, you go to southernexteriors.co, drop their name in, and they're going to select one family to get this incredible Christmas gift. So if you know a deserving family in need of a new roof, nominate them today. Do not wait. You're a little over what you got right before, right at the end of the month. So you got about 3 weeks to get this done. Make sure you go to southernexteriors.co. One family will get a brand new roof just in time for Christmas. Southernexteriors.co. Southernexteriors.co.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
Compact Outside, the all-electric EQB 250 SUV is big on space, style, and smart ideas. With available seating for 7, a digital voice assistant, and MB navigation with electric intelligence, the EQB is born from a forward-thinking family and built for yours. Experience the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQB 250 SUV today and lease one for just $399 per month for 36 months with $48.93 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta Sandy Springs through December 2nd, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there, napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, November 12th. Patricia Mealy, a 89-year-old woman who went missing from the Greenwood Assisted Living Facility in Marietta, has been found dead. Mealy, who was hearing impaired and new to the facility, was confused and left without her glasses. A couple who were part of the search effort were walking through a park when they discovered her body floating in a pond at a nearby cemetery. Police say there is no indication that foul play was involved as they continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Atlanta police responded to a crash scene on Campbellton Road after a driver of a sedan collided with the back of a MARTA bus last night. The driver, who was seriously injured, was taken to the hospital where they later died from their injuries. Several passengers aboard the bus were also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still under investigation. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have acquired infielder Nick Allen from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for minor league right-hander Jared Johnson. Additionally, Braves pitcher Chris Sale has been named a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. The winner will be announced on November 20th. With your headline, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Tuck Rhino and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When you hear that music, you know it is time to speak to the Talkmaster, Neil Bortz. Neil, what is up with you, pal?
I got nothing.
No, wow,
that's it. All right, sew it up. Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
Well, we got like 15 or 20 minutes to fill, so let's talk about something.
Boy, look at that. Look at that. I mean, how that Joe just pushed the button early, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes, sir, he did.
Okay, how about the monkeys? We were just talking about the monkeys escaping, Boris. You hear about that in South Carolina?
Well,
I think it's Planet
I've
of the Apes.
I've had a similar experience.
There we go. Tell me.
Well, I was flying my hot air balloon out in Gwinnett County this is many moons ago, okay? Flying the balloon, and I landed in what looked like a nice field. But what I didn't realize, it was a primate research center. So I'm sitting in this field, and all of a sudden, and here come these monkeys roaring out of the woods, heading for the balloon. I hit that burner, and I just did get off the ground before those monkeys started getting in the basket and jumping all over the place.
Wow.
So at least I think it was that. It was either that or a Democrat rally of some kind. But
well, they would have torn you up, by the way. They're not to be trifled with.
I don't like them. They bite.
Democrats or monkeys?
Both.
Democrats also throw poo.
So anyway, I've been reading a lot about. I have sworn off TV news for the week. I was oversaturated. Yeah, I haven't watched a network newscast or any of that nonsense at all. And my wife likes Inside Edition, so I watch that. But I do read because I like to get up early in the morning, do some reading, get ready for y'all sharp acid tongues. But what I really, first of all, none of you are going to be invited to Jeff Duncan's next birthday party. You know that, don't
that's
you?
okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And what is his birthday?
Got me. I'm guessing you know.
April Fool's Day.
Oh,
well, that's appropriate.
Seems fitting.
Yeah, but at any rate, one thing he did say when he was writing in the AJC, ad, people are suggesting that one TV ad may have done more to turn the tide to Trump than anything else that happened, and that's the ad promoting this trans crap, pardon me, but it said, she's for they/them, he's for you. And such a simple line, and it must have meant a buttload of votes out there.
I'll tell you, Neil, just because some of the work they did on this, every single time they showed that to an independent audience, you had a 3% move towards Donald Trump every single time they screened it.
Well, whoever wrote that ad or whoever came up with that idea, excuse me, boy, they deserve special praise or something. She's for they/them, he's for you. And if that didn't put the kibosh on this pronoun stuff, I don't know what would. That was absolutely beautiful. By the way, has anybody actually left the country yet?
No, I don't think so.
We've been watching. Yeah.
Nothing. Kathy Griffin, the comedian, has said that she's not leaving. Now, I don't recall if she said she was leaving or not to begin with, but I know she hates Donald Trump, so I assumed that. But she put out a video talking about how she's tussled with Donald Trump and prevailed, and she's staying. She's not going anywhere. I was like, prevailed? What are you
She went from D-list to F-list after that. She prevailed.
On my absolutely never award-winning commentaries on Extra 106.3 this morning, I have a pretty comprehensive list of everybody who has promised they were going to leave the country.
And that list is probably going to stay intact because ain't none of them going nowhere.
And then there's 4 people on that list that promised to do extraordinary things, like Bono and Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
And they were really. We have to find a way to hold these people to their promises.
I think a pay-per-view and do Thelma Louise, put them both in a car, light it on fire, and let them drive off themselves. I think that'd be great. Raise some money.
Well, there's some of the things that they promised to do that would absolutely be perfect for pay-per-view television.
Yeah. Neil, how much do you buy into the idea that you have these people that are part of these Epstein lists, these Diddy lists, that's why they were so much into trying to keep the current regime in power? Because if that list sees the light of day on either side, I think you're going to have a whole lot of Hollywood and a whole lot of entertainment. They're going to have some problems.
I haven't really thought about that, but I guess if you're in that kind of trouble, anything is fair game to try to keep it from becoming more widely known. So I would say there probably are there's some names on that list I've never heard of. And but probably if it's going to save your reputation or what have you, change the narrative. I'll change the narrative from Diddy to I'm going to leave the country.
Exactly.
So Diddy, by the way, was on the list, but I have a feeling he's not leaving this country anytime soon.
I think he's probably going to be around for a little while. He's got some trials to run through.
But I really do like the list thus far of Trump's appointments. Although I got a scare last night that some guy named Getz was going to be the national security advisor, and I thought to myself, "Oh no, not Matt Getz, please, no!" And it wasn't. It was some other Getz guy.
Just some other fellow,
some other guy.
Nothing to see here. You're all good.
Where's Marjorie Taylor Greene going to go?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I mean, I figured that she would be a pit bull, but I wonder how much, because he kind of, as much as he had her on the trail with him a lot of times at a lot of the rallies, he didn't really push for much of what, she would want. But I think she is a bulldog. I thought she would have been good as a maybe DHS, but I don't know. I guess you got to keep her there in the House. I mean, she kind of really does do a good job bringing what needs to be done in the House, talking about the House. I think they push her somewhere else.
Well, really, Jewish space lasers?
She never said that, Neil.
Oh, no. Come on now.
She never said that. She was talking about Solarin, which is a company that was trying to beam sunlight back to facilities and store the energy in batteries. That's all she said. And what she said was, this is something that the Rothschilds are a part of and certain groups. And then the left said, she said Jewish space lasers. If you can find me any cut of her saying it, then I will retract what I say. But I'm telling you right now, I've gone through all of it.
I won't bring it up again unless I find some proof. But I guess my problem was I'm just lazy and I didn't bother to research it. But some of the left conspiracy theories now on the election are a lot of fun. That these Starlink satellites that Elon Musk put up there were actually secretly programmed to interfere with voting machines and vote counts around the country. So, apparently I'm expanding on the conspiracy theory. As the Starlinks passed overhead, now remember, I haven't read this, is just hyperbole. As the Starlink satellites passed overhead, voting machine counts mysteriously changed in favor of Donald Trump. And now they're already floating the Elon Musk theory, but they haven't fine-tuned it like I just did.
If you were going to pull this off, and again, I'm going to jump into their conspiratorial crazy scenario. If you recognize that 2020 was essentially came down to about 45,000 votes across the swing states. All right. It came down to 787,000 votes this time around. That's a whole lot of changing of information if you're going to give it a try.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and where did this 45,000 votes come from?
Those are the key areas in which, because the total ended up being across the swing states, 237,000 that were for Joe Biden across the swing states, because North Carolina voted for Trump, nearly 75,000. But as far as in order to win, to reach 270, that's the difference, was about 45,000 total votes.
Well, one of the things I really enjoyed, I believe it was on CNN, but I was impressed on election night with the extent to which these networks built these graphics and this computer backup where they could go to any county in the country and tell you how Trump did in the last election and how he did in this election and how Joe Biden did in the last, how he did in this election. So they're sitting there, I think it was CBS, they're looking at a map of the country, and the reporter said, okay, Mr. Computer Expert, push a button and tell us how many counties in this country that Joe Biden actually outperformed his efforts in the last election. Not counties where Joe Biden beat Donald Trump, but counties where Joe Biden actually got more votes than he did in the last election. And the screen went blank.
Yeah. Yeah,
there wasn't not one single county where Joe Biden improved on his vote totals. Not states, but counties.
Yeah, meaning
Not
Kamala
one.
Harris didn't improve on Joe Biden's vote count. And
Right,
then
and
Jake Tapper was like, there's not
yeah.
any?
Not one. Now, by the way, in my home county, Collier County, Florida, we have maintained our status of not having one single Democrat elected official.
Mm-hmm. That's like a blue ribbon day there.
Well, that's why they call this place paradise.
That's right.
It's fair.
You know, now I did get my butt in the crack.
Whoops.
Uh-oh.
Just happened.
Yeah, seriously.
Got
And he
his butt
fell
run.
in.
What crack were you in? You okay, Neil?
He fell right in. We can't even get him back.
Well, he shouldn't have talked about African space lasers like he did about Elon Musk being all African like
Those
that.
South African space
Those
lasers. Those South African satellites that were taking over the election.
That's exactly right. Now they've been shot at him.
You heard that crazy Neil Bortz talking about South African space lasers.
But some of the numbers, like for instance, when we talked about Loudoun County in Virginia, and you know, as Neil was talking about, you know, where was she outperforming Joe Biden in Loudoun County? You had Joe Biden, who won it by nearly 26%. By the time it gets around to election night, you had Kamala Harris that won it by 14%. So you dropped 12 percentage points back over to Donald Trump. And that was indicative throughout the entirety of the country. That's why you were seeing those maps and going, she's in a lot of trouble, even as we got to like 8 o'clock and polls were closing on the East Coast.
But that's why we talk so much about those small percentage of black voters, Hispanic voters, and women voters that were going to come out, especially suburban women. Look how much he improved. And that's one of the weird things that you start looking in the Hispanic voters. Slowly, from Bush on, they have been growing to where in 2020, Donald Trump got about 40%. He got 58% of the Hispanic vote. That's a huge number, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. You're starting to see it with suburban women. You're starting to see it with the black conservatives that are coming out and saying
Young
enough's
women,
enough.
too.
Young women. Yeah, it's
Gen Z
amazing
women.
to see.
Yeah, the jump at 11% up to 40%. Yeah, that one, I think that was probably the most shocking one for me, because I was told that all women care about is abortion. That is it, especially young women, because their quote unquote rights are being taken away. And they rejected that narrative, and actually voted for Trump more than they had in the past.
MSNBC was hot election night because their exit polling continued to show from NBC. Women cared more about their grocery prices than abortions. Yep. They cared more about everyday living than abortions. Let's face it, the Bill Clinton method, and what I firmly believe since the 90s, it's supposed to be legal and rare. Joe Biden has echoed that as well. Going to Publix is not rare.
Yeah.
You're encouraging that every couple
least.
weeks. And if you got a family, you know how expensive that is.
I mean, that was a pretty easy one for him. But I think, you know, when Tug brought up what they did and you brought up Loudoun County, that's huge. When they started talking about it to women, I think they cared more about women being in the sports with their daughters and their, you know, sisters. I think women, young women, were like, hey, I don't want men in my locker room.
Don't you use that slur, sir. You called them men.
Yeah, well, they are. And but I think a lot of that, women really didn't care as much about the abortion because, again, it's such a small percentage, and they look and they're reasonable and say, hey, even Georgia has it for exception, which we should be using instead of always using it for personal responsibility. So I think sports in the locker room was huge. Obviously, the essentials and inflated costs, that is what they were. But gosh, it's amazing to see the leaps that Donald Trump has made, especially after being vilified the way he was by the media with women and the minority groups.
There you go. Neil Bortz is back quickly. We'll check in just a second. He's calling this time because the
Starlink went out.
That's what I was looking at.
Because the South African space laser took you out after talking about Elon Musk and his space lasers.
Neil,
got him again. It got him again.
Oh, my Lord. All right. Well, we're going to give up.
All right. We'll check back in next week.
Neil, we love you, man. We hope you're okay. Just Joe, if you hear from him.
Don't mess with the South African space lasers.
Seriously, man. They will fry you. They will fry you. And everything you try to use, all your devices, your laptops, your Comrex, every piece of equipment you have will be fried up like eggs, Neil. All right, this is Extra 106.3. When we come back, the deep state is already planning and plotting against Donald Trump, and one person on CNN's brave enough to point it out next on Extra 106.3. This is the Morning Extra.
Isn't it funny how the Democrats always focus on the bad part of American history and they never talk about the good part of American history?
Yeah.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Cowart for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Community Relations Officer Mark Cabral and Officer Victor Aguirre of the Roswell Police Department. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com. Modular and offsite construction is booming. If you're an architect, building engineer, supplier, developer, or contractor, you can't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to the International Convention Center in Atlanta on November 20th. With the rising cost of traditional building, modular and offsite construction is changing the way companies build. It's quicker, cheaper, and offers a faster ROI. So don't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to Atlanta on November 20th. Register today at offsiteconstructionnetwork.com. That's offsiteconstructionnetwork.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they are not going to go away. They need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with repair. Ramjack is the best company in the industry for repairing your foundation. We have the highest quality products in the nation. So, if you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881. That's 770-502-8881.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Madmen. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Kimmer. Let me ask a question. Are you self-employed, self-insured, maybe a small business owner? For those of us who are healthy right now, what happens when you get chronically ill? Could be fine, but that could wipe you out. You think Obamacare is going to help you figure this stuff out? Good luck getting somebody to answer the phone. Well, I got a guy. Steven, the health insurance doctor, has a better solution. It's the non-Obamacare health plan. These plans are available year-round, open enrollment periods, $0 deductibles, no co-payments when you see your doctor. They have the power of a nationwide PPO, whatever that is, to see any doctor, any hospital. The health insurance doctor's clients saving up to 60% over Obamacare, many saving up to $10,000 a year in premiums. The health insurance doctor's been serving Metro Atlanta for decades. Stephen has thousands of satisfied clients. Stephen, the health insurance doctor, will personally answer your call, always help you, and it's free, no cost to you. You don't have to pay him. The health insurance doctor, 678-523-0759. 678-523-0759. On the web, healthinsurancedoctor.net.
Keep up with all of our shows and the latest headlines by following Extra 1063 on Instagram, X, Facebook, Truth Social, and all your social media platforms. Plus exclusive giveaways and more. So follow now at XTRA 1063.
We know that the deep state is already plotting and planning against Donald Trump. And one person on CNN is willing to point it out. And I think it's so valuable that he's there. Scott Jennings is his name.
I don't know at what level this is. It just seems like it's informal discussions. I guess it's understandable they would have those discussions. It also, Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? You know, he's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart or countermand the commander-in-chief. I don't care if it's at the Pentagon or at the HUD or Ag Department. It doesn't matter. The unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership that we just did. And what if you were in his shoes and you just won the popular vote with a clear mandate, and now you got to read that these unelected bureaucrats are plotting against you? What would you think? If they have problems, let me finish. If they have problems, they should not have meetings that then leak to the press. If they have ideas or things, they should call the president's office and say, hey, we'd like to have some discussions for planning purposes. But secret meetings that leak, terrible way to get off to a start with the new administration.
Well, I agree that that's maybe not the best way to do it. However, Trump has set them up to be in this situation where they think that he's coming after them.
No, he did not.
You're right.
No, he didn't. You did that.
And I want him to go after them.
I do.
The fact that she's saying that he set him up, no, I want him to do it, and I voted for him.
Well, this is how unserious Democrats are, by the way. They talk about bipartisanship, but they don't go to the president because they do have access, and they could say, hey, we'd love to have a meeting with you, sir. You know, we've gotten off to a bad start. We have media members like this on CNN, MSNBC, who have put this out there that you're coming after all of us. Let's set the record straight. We know you're not going to come after us unless we have done something wrong, I guess. But let's sit down and talk about some bipartisan ideas that we think are important for the American people. Democrats are babies. They're whiny little brats that throw temper tantrums all day and don't actually want to work. They want power.
It's interesting they've created this world of fear that doesn't exist. Like, it's this anticipation of what's going to happen. It is, well, what if they use the powers of government for all these horrible processes and these horrible plans? Well, you've been doing that for 8 years.
My thing is, I want to see it torn down to the studs. I've been saying that for as long as this show's been in existence. Tear it apart because you have to rebuild it the way the founding fathers intended for it to operate. The deep state, the swamp, those unelected bureaucrats will never allow that to happen. Donald Trump has to fire them. He has to get them out of there, or we'll continue down the same path we're on, and we won't make any progress even though he was elected. So good. I'm glad. I am so thrilled that they're all shaking in their boots. I think it's wonderful.
I do too. I think it's amazing because if you're not adult enough to go, hey, I understand. Look, we played games. We played political games and mind games, and we've done the damage that we could do, and you still won. So amazing. Congratulations to you. Can we figure out what we need to do? Because there are some issues that we think socially you need to be, abreast of and make sure that, hey, these are priorities for us. Now, no, we're not going to have we're not going to have men and girls sports. Boys. Sorry, I want to use the correct slur. Boys.
Slur.
Yeah, I want to use the correct slur. Boys in women's sports. We just don't, okay? But is there something that we can do for certain people? Yeah, let's get them the mental help they need. Let's get them certain things that they need. Let's make sure that they don't get these surgeries from doctors that are just, mutilating people at this point. Let's start saying, hey, at the age of 18, you have that decision. Anything under that? No, we don't. So these are common sense issues that we can work out, but they don't want to do that. They want to continue to spread lies and fear and hate. But I hate to tell them, 4 years down the road when there are no internment camps, what are they going to do, Los?
I just wonder how we've gotten to a point within network news, within CNN or MSNBC, how you've managed to build such a cult following in terms of what you can say and what you can't for 1/4% of the country. How have you managed to stop talking about working people of all creeds and all colors and the sort of challenges that the homemaker has, or the single dad, or the school teacher, and you're busy talking about the ways to discuss 1/4%? And so when you start building it into, well, here's the issues that we got with the deep state, here's what they're going to do, I can't take you seriously because you're so invested in something that is so minuscule and really doesn't matter to the big scope of Americans.
But to add on to that, though, anything that does benefit the greatest majority of Americans, they're against too.
Yeah.
So they're programming to that very small, very, very small percentage. And yet the rest of the country wants to see strong borders, wants to see the military used to protect our borders if necessary. And they're against that too. Anything the American people, by and large, want, the deep state, those people are fully against, and the networks are as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They're and the left and all their little leadership, they're all against a lot of things that made this country great. When it comes to God, traditional values, yeah, Christianity. See, I would love to be more of a troll. I would love to say, if you don't join a church, we're getting rid of you too. I would love to do all that just to kind of get them crazy. But the reality is, let's just go in and do what we need to do over the next 2 years. Let's get all the legislation that helps all of Americans and prove why the president is supposed to be one thing and one thing only, and that is the protector of the borders of our country. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have failed at that miserably, and now it's time for us to come in and clean it up. But let's do it in the right way, the responsible way, and get rid of all the criminals first. Get them gone. Bye. See you later. If you broke the law, you're gone. It's that easy, but let's do it in a nice way. Let's show them who we really are, because we do care about people.
If I was to take that entire CNN panel and do a Clockwork Orange, we're going to sit in a room, and here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Jesus, apple pie, and the bald eagle and the American flag. Now they're going to think to themselves, well, how ridiculous and how small-minded is this? Like, you need to start talking about things that people care about. These things that you're bringing up, people in general do not care. In fact, I was thinking about this last night. When the mask went away, and some people have still made sure to adopt the mask, they went to their new mask. You know what it was? Here are my pronouns.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to wear a mask anymore, but now I will show you what my political stance is by giving you my pronouns. You lost because this became a plurality of thinking on your side.
Well, that, and then you reject that. What do they go to? Their new mask, their new pronoun is a kafia and Queers for Palestine. I mean, the whole message was just a ridiculous message and continues to be.
Nothing will change on the left. They're not capable of realizing what lost them this election in historic fashion. There's a handful, there's a couple, but by and large, the Democrat Party is not capable of changing. So they are what they are, and they will be viewed throughout the rest of history as complete lunatics and losers at the end of the day, because they lost so massively last week. Trump to get rid of the DOE, Department of Education. So we invited an expert in education to discuss the plan next.
I'm here, yes.
Yes, so you and Angela Morabito.
Oh, no, she's the expert.
Yes, well, but you too, no doubt. This is Extra 106.3. Got a Neil Bortz report, the Fox News update, and then more of us.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Interesting week, don't you think? A lot of celebrating, a lot of whining, a lot of blame placing, a lot of excuse making. One real high point is now I think we can all be assured, after reading the tea leaves, that the hyena's day as a political player in America is severely limited. Kamala Harris is going to disappear as quickly as Michael Dukakis did. It seems somebody named Michael T. Adams has done us all a favor by producing a list of all of the celebrities that promised they would leave America if Trump won. You want to hear it? I'll read fast. And as I do, ask yourself if this country would be better or worse off if they actually did pack their bags and take a hike. Adam Baldwin, Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Rob Reiner, Barbara Streisand, Cher, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Megan Rapinoe, Tom Hanks, Amy Schumer, AOC, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Bill Gates, Jane Fonda, Madonna, Mark Ruffalo, Kim Kardashian, Bruce Springsteen, George Clooney, Hunter Biden, Oprah, Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, Miley Cyrus, Travis Kelce, Bobby Althoff. All together now, who the hell is Bobby Althoff? Rashida Tlaib, Stormy Daniels, Anthony Fauci, George Soros, Diddy, he can't leave, he's in jail. Eminem, Ellen DeGeneres, Sean Penn, Sharon Stone, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee, Bryan Cranston, and Billy Joe Armstrong. Who dat? But here's a bonus list Michael Adams created. Cher actually says she will blow her brains out. Rob Reiner is going to set himself on fire. Bono is going to drive his car off a cliff, and Bette Midler is going to drink Drano right out of the bottle. Can we make it pay-per-view? Oh, and Bobby Althoff is apparently a podcaster. Wowzer. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to the Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
To understand what makes Diamonds Direct so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back 60 years, when a diamond cutter became well known for his exceptional craftsmanship. His diamond cutting business flourished for decades. Then his sons got involved and started selling these exceptional diamonds to upscale jewelry stores here in America. After a few years, these wholesalers decided to change the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices they had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success, and Diamonds Direct was born. Today, Diamonds Direct provides that extraordinary value to people all over America, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best prices, period. Diamonds Direct, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history, rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Proud to call ATL home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Why is it that only white columnists are the only ones ever held responsible for taking somebody else's stuff when every race, creed, color on this planet has done it 1,000 times?
Well, because we're the white people.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Still a convicted felon for now. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, but President-elect Trump's criminal conviction in New York could be thrown out today or not. Fox's Gernal Scott.
Judge Juan Merchan said today is when he will decide if President-elect Trump's sentencing on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records stays on track for November 26th, or does a Supreme Court immunity ruling covering acts while president mean the conviction will be thrown out? The president-elect denies any relationship with adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Payments made to her came before his first election, but repayments to ex-lawyer Michael Cohen were discussed in the Oval Office. Prosecutors say the conviction covers personal conduct for which President-elect Trump is not immune.
And President-elect Trump is expected to nominate Florida Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State and will, Fox confirms, nominate Florida Congressman Mike Waltz as National Security Advisor.
President-elect Trump tapping former Congressman Lee Zeldin to lead the Environmental Protection Agency. Another New Yorker, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, is accepting the nomination to be the next U.S. ambassador to the UN. Trump's former senior advisor and immigration hawk Stephen Miller congratulated by Vice President-elect Vance as Trump's new deputy chief of staff.
Fox's Aisha Hosni in West Palm Beach, Florida. The new Senate will have 53 Republicans, 47 Democrats, with the races all now called.
Arizona Democrat Ruben Gallego scores a victory and keeps Republicans from padding their majority in the U.S. Senate. AP projects that Gallego defeated Republican Kerry Lake to win the open Senate seat, 50% to 48%.
Fox's Carmen Roberts, Democrat turned independent Senator Kirsten Sinema did not run for re-election. 35 people are reported killed by a man in China driving into a crowd at a sports center. America's listening to Fox News.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry. Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry. Terry. Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Want weather? Grab your phone. Need traffic? Grab your phone. Conservative news and talk, also on your phone. Get the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. 404-741-1230 is the number. And at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms, whether you're listening at 106.3 FM, 1230 AM on the Extra 106.3 app or streaming on the YouTube channel, we say good morning to you. And we welcome Angela Morabito into the studio as well. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing real well. It's great to be with you.
Absolutely. We got a double dose. Was able to talk to you last week, and having you again is always a pleasure. The reason we thought it would be perfect to have you in is because Donald Trump says he's going to get rid of the Department of Education. What is your first reaction? Can he get it done?
He can, but it's going to take some help from Congress. So I think there's a lot of excitement out there of finally this $80 billion a year expense could be going away, and it should go away, just like President Trump said, to block grant that money to the states. But it's tougher politically than I think a lot of people realize.
But, Angela, they're going to get rid of special needs funding. They're not going to be able to do the things that they've been doing to help the minority communities. They're not going to be able to teach the way they're supposed to be teaching when they get rid of this.
Well, that is exactly what the left says, but in reality, the Department of Ed is just a really expensive middleman. What President Trump is proposing is not knock out all the education funding. It's literally knock out the middleman and make sure more of that federal education funding can actually make it into classrooms.
Angela Morabito joins us right here on the Morning Extra, who previously worked in the Department of Education. So this is a fascinating topic to get into with her. That's the idea. Return the money back to the states so that you can make decisions on education locally rather than it having a one-size-fits-all national policy.
Totally. The Department of Ed employs 4,000 people. That's a lot of people who don't necessarily need to be employed by the federal government, and they're expensive. Look, I mean, I worked there. I've seen it myself, how this organization is just an incredibly expensive bureaucracy that educates zero people.
She is a visiting fellow of the Independent Women's Forum and formerly spokeswoman for the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos, which was under President Donald Trump. 4,000 employees. When I hear 4,000 employees, I'm like, wait a minute. There's very few companies, that are that do really good work that have 4,000 employees, and then you multiply that across all the agencies of the federal government. We have so much repetition. We have so much waste, fraud, and abuse. Was that something that you and Mrs. DeVos, y'all could see from where you were working in the Department of Education? Was it so obvious that there were so many people that didn't need to be there?
You could definitely see that there were a lot of people who weren't doing a full-time job, who weren't even trying to do a full-time job because there was no full-time work there for them to do. But I'll tell you, I actually learned a lot after leaving the department. I found out that there were something like dozens and dozens, I think close to 100 communication staffers. And I thought, well, that's weird because because I met 6. No lie.
Wow. So, but, on top of those 4,000, there's also like subgroups that you put money into to do this. And I'm supposed to be in charge of this, but I'm going to go ahead and use funding to go ahead and establish this little committee that will do this as well. So it even grows even further when they go outside and hire outside resources of just waste.
It is. It's like this giant spider. And I think case in point for this is what happened with the free application for federal student aid. So if you've been in college recently or you're sending a kid to college sometime soon, FAFSA is the abbreviation. It's really important. And they had years and years to streamline the FAFSA on an order from Congress. This was, you got to fix this form. It's clunky. It doesn't work. Let's make it better. They managed to make it exponentially worse.
Oh, we know. My family knows.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry you guys have suffered through that. And they ultimately found out it was because of mismanagement of independent contractors, that there just was not the oversight that needed to happen. For years, this wasn't like a one-time somebody slipped up. This was a pervasive problem that never got fixed, and students and families suffered for it.
Angela Morbido is our guest on the Morning Extra. Now, as I'm listening to Donald Trump issue the video and talking about getting rid of the Department of Education and revamping how we do things and, basically going through accreditation process and overhauling that, and there was one part where I went, hold on a second. He talked about the Marxist language on college campuses and what's being taught and the atmosphere around college. And while I sat back and said, yeah, I'm not a Marxist, we shouldn't be teaching this, at the same time, it's free speech. And as much as I had a problem with you doing what you were doing with the federal government was to Twitter, I had a problem with Donald Trump talking about affecting language on campus. You can't have it both ways. It's got to be uniformity. And so if you're telling me that you're going to look at accreditation standards and say, this is pretty anti-American, man, they have the right to be anti-American.
Well, yes.
Talk me through that, because I think this is the breeding ground. If you can get rid of this, you put back communism and Marxism in this country for probably a generation or two. But that goes against our founding.
Well, what he's talking about in terms of education reform is actually undoing one of the levers of ideological control. So if a university is not accredited, they don't have any access to Title IV federal student aid dollars. So financially, for these schools, accreditation is a matter of life and death. It's just critically important. And what some of these accreditors have been doing is saying, well, if you want our stamp of approval, you better play by our rules. So accreditors should really have nothing to do with infringing on speech or an ideology on campus.
It should be quality of education, and are you solvent as a university? Exactly.
And accreditors were instead abusing the power that they had to try and enforce some level of ideological influence that they never, ever should have had. So President Trump is right in that accreditors should be out of the ideology game and instead allow these colleges to be free marketplaces of ideas. Because when there is that free marketplace, those Marxist ideas don't survive.
How do you rework the federal loans, student loans? I mean, do you allow that to be given out to private industry where it's going to be handled and competition will actually bring down some of those rates for the students? Or do you allow the federal government to continue in that role of supplying some of these federal student loans?
So there are a handful of different ways to do this, but we know that what we have now doesn't work. Like federal student aid, when it was created, was actually supposed to make the government some money. Instead, it's a $1.7 trillion money sink. So you raise a great question. There are a few different ideas out there. One of them is spin off federal student aid, make it its own animal. Another one is to let the bankers handle the banking, put it underneath Treasury. And another one is just like you mentioned, to get the government out of the student aid business altogether.
Is there any way of salvaging what is in place? Is there any part of that mechanism that's there that is valuable from your point of view and that could be repaired? Or should it just be torn down to the studs, Angela?
Ooh, I don't think we necessarily have to wreck the whole thing on day one, but I think if there's any hope for it to survive, you have to get rid of this loan forgiveness program. So the Biden-Harris team will say, oh, well, we're adopting income-driven repayment, or we're creating this hardship rule. Okay, well, for all their language around it, they're trying to turn federal student loans into grants.
But see, here's the problem that I have, because as a guy that's been through this, my son is now a sophomore in college, we're not rich by any means. We are middle class, and that's it. And yet the federal government looks up at us like we're like Bill Gates or somebody that Elon Musk.
Shouldn't go to church, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing. They look at us and they're saying, you don't have any help. You don't get any help. We don't even pay attention to you, you middle class person. You, in our eyes, are rich. So is there any way to break down that barrier too? Because I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy.
Yeah.
And there is a way that my kid can benefit from some programs. But at the same time, I don't want it to be a $1.7 trillion debt to the American people at the same time. So I understand, or I feel like I understand both sides of the argument, but is there any happy medium?
I think there is, but you have to break this vicious cycle of college is so expensive, so the government ramps up the subsidy,
Which
so
is
college
why
get more
college is expensive, right? Yeah.
Right. It just tornadoes into what we have now, where it's incredibly unaffordable for pretty much everybody in America. So we all think about, Elizabeth Warren talks about this, right? People on the left talk about, when I went to college, it cost 37 cents. I don't know. I'm completely exaggerating. It would be nice if it cost 37 cents.
Well, she was an Indian, so back then.
That's right. How dare I forget?
She probably was 37 cents.
Native Americans.
Right. So I think that getting government out of the way is the only thing to do. And that's going to be a sea change for colleges and universities, because if only the people who could do college level work went to college, a lot of schools would close.
What about just returning it to the states like we do with the Hope Scholarship and allow them to say, hey, this Hope Scholarship, we're bringing it from the lottery. We could bring it from sports gambling if they ever pass that, and allow that to happen on the state level. Make the states make that decision. If your child wants to go out of state or go to another school, well, then guess what? You're going to have to go to a private lender to find the money and hopefully work yourself into a good loan that you'll be able to pay back by going to a great school like that. Is there any way to just return that to the states the way they did abortion?
So I really like that idea of giving it back to the states, but I do think there needs to be, like you mentioned, a way for somebody to go out and get a loan if they do want to go out of state. Now, the states have done something really cool, and Tug, you might have experienced this with the Hope Scholarship like we have here in Georgia. There are reciprocity agreements. So let's say that you qualify for Hope, but you want to go to Florida, or you're in Florida, you want to come to Georgia. There's this sort of patchwork system, and I'm just using the Southeast, our proverbial neighborhood, as an example. But there's this patchwork system of states figuring it out of, we're going to get talented kids to college, and we're going to do it at a steep discount.
Well, and I will tell you this from having done my master's at University of Alabama, part of the reason why I picked there in the program was because they were forward thinking and saying, we're not going to consider you out of state or in state any longer. Awesome. This is going to be the level of tuition it's going to be, and here's going to be the number. And you constantly, for the past 20 years, hear about, here's my dream school, but I'm out of state, and so it's this much more expensive. I think you're talking about that reciprocity of, why don't we get this pretty uniform where we recognize we just want the best and the brightest, it doesn't matter where you come from.
Yes, I think we're getting closer to that. Like with the Students for Fair Admissions Supreme Court decision, which said no more race-based affirmative action in college. I think we're inching closer to that really smart system, which is just get the most talented kids who are willing to work the hardest. Doesn't matter where they grew up. And that speaks to education freedom more broadly, right? I think we talk about it at the K-12 level all the time of, don't let a kid's future be determined by their zip code. Well, also don't let a kid's educational or financial future be determined by where they happen to be born.
Angela Morabito is our guest. She was the spokeswoman for the Department of Education under Betsy DeVos, for Donald Trump, and now with the Independent Women's Forum, visiting fellow there. What about standards? Because when we checked my son into college, they talked about remedial classes. They had a whole breakout session for remedial classes.
Wow.
No kidding. In the theater.
COVID-era students, because of their lack of information.
There's that, but I think it was even building before that. I think that was just the one that sunk the ship. It was awful. They did a whole breakout session. What do we do about standards? Because there's kids that are in college right now that can't do 8th grade math.
Yes, and they don't read full books either. There was a great piece in The Atlantic of these college professors going, well, the syllabus I had 4 years ago doesn't work anymore because these kids cannot do the work. So the standards issue, I think, starts very, very young. It's, are we expecting kindergartners to know their shapes and colors and letters and to be able to sound out words? We got rid of that pretty much starting at a child's day one in education, and the teacher unions really pushed that. So in terms of what to do, this is going to sound so mushy and emotional, but I think a culture of excellence matters.
That didn't sound mushy at all. That sounds terrific.
Thank you. I mean, I think there's a reason that young men swung so heavily towards Trump this cycle, because what has education done in the past, couple of generations? It's taken out competition.
Mm-hmm.
And girls are more often than not hardwired to collaborate. Boys are hardwired to compete. And we find this in linguistic studies with the language that boys and girls use when they're just beginning to speak. So this is like baked into people at a really, really young age. Well, we've told boys don't compete. You can't compete. Nobody can be better than anybody else. Equity, equity, equity. They hated it. All of a sudden, there's an alternative, and bam, it takes off like wildfire. So I think this may be a generational opportunity to get the idea of excellence and high standards and competition back into schools.
You talk about that idea of here's what the standard should be in boys looking for excellence, and girls. By the way, Gen Z swung 11 percentage points when it came to women back over to Donald Trump. That was very encouraging. I think when you heard Trump speak yesterday, he talked about not just entrance exams, which not everybody still deals with those, but even exit exams.
Yeah.
It's like, did you learn this material? Are you ready to enter the workplace? I think when he said both of those, all the rest of us were going, well, yeah, that sounds great. But I wonder who looked at it and said, I don't want to deal with that. That's more competition. I have to actually stay on top of this.
That would be the teacher unions.
Yes.
They have campaigned at the state level over and over and over again to get rid of high school exit exams because they know students can't pass it. So instead of saying, well, guess we're failing at our jobs, we should probably try to be better at that, they just try to knock out the test. They knock out the standards instead of trying to have people meet it. So, I mean, we're seeing this, especially with some of the larger companies and like employment verifications. A high school diploma doesn't really mean a ton anymore, depending on where you went to school. A college diploma also may not mean what it used to mean a generation ago. So we're seeing these companies, why the hiring process now is like months and months long for so many people going into like super corporate America. It's because all of those like social markers of being able to competently do a job don't really hold a lot of water anymore.
Yeah. You know, in New York, we had BOCES in high schools, which I thought was great. And there are some places that have those programs, but I think we need more of those and say, hey, listen, I know you don't want to be a mathematician or scientist, a doctor or a lawyer, but maybe you do want to get into motorcycle repair or engineering or any of these others that we could focus on. Is there a chance that the states can start doing that? Number one. Number two, can we just make a curriculum where we don't have to make excuses and say, hey, this group in this neighborhood is never going to be as good as anybody else or smart as anybody else, so let's dumb down these tests for them. I feel like every kid has the same opportunity and the same brilliant mind that they're able to get through all this. How do we standardize every single curriculum for every school, no matter what neighborhood it is?
So these are great questions. I don't know that we want to standardize the exact same curriculum for everybody, because by the time a kid gets to high school, they know, I really love history, or I really love math, or really not a fan of English or science or whatever. I think there should be more opportunities to specialize, and there should be more opportunities for students to show off where those talents are. Does there need to be a baseline? 100%. But when the government sets that baseline, and we have things like Common Core, it is a mess. Common Core was just a wreck because they tried to set the standards and they said, instead of demanding excellence from everyone, we're going to demand that you do your multiplication tables this way. And the government got involved and it just kind of collapsed.
Right.
So I'm sorry. The first
we just want them having like addition, subtraction, multiplication. We want them to have science,
have
technology.
Those basics.
Yeah.
And I think standardized testing has become a dirty word in education. I'm actually a lot more pro-test than a lot of people that you would meet, because I do think there has to be that one benchmark. That's why the nation's report card scores are so helpful, because all of a sudden we can measure kids and text this against kids in Rhode Island.
Angela Morbido is our guest on the Morning Extra, and I wanted to make this announcement since you were here. I think it's important because I have long been identifying myself as a black lesbian in order to secure not just educational advancement, but professional advancement. But I've decided in the new era of Donald Trump that I'm getting rid of that.
What?
No,
really?
Please don't.
You're just going to be regular Carlos?
No.
Oh.
I will be Carlos, but I'm now non-binary.
Oh,
wow.
What's the wisdom there?
I'm just non-binary.
Just non-binary.
But I don't.
You can't argue it.
But
I'm fluid as can be.
But I only have sex with women, but I'm non-binary.
Okay.
So now I'm scaling things back, everybody. I'm me, but I still have that little thing that's going to help me when I apply for my next college and everything else. You see how this is going to work,
so
Angela?
Are you they, them? Or
I'm just non-binary.
Okay,
I like that. Thank you for your understanding.
Well, I shaved my head, and I will not have sex with men. I will not get pregnant. I
he's
have made
4B.
this. I'm 4B. I am 4B.
I'm just a regular white dude. That's all I am.
Redneck.
Yeah, hillbilly.
Had you had your son said, I'm non-binary?
Oh, I know.
Thousands of dollars coming his
Dude,
way again.
I'm telling you, it was ridiculous. It is so insane. Visiting fellow with the Independent Women's Forum, Angela Morabito, is here with us. She's going to continue and more discussion about Department of Education. How do we improve education? How do we make America great again when it comes to education? Next on Extra 1063.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 1063. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
And I'm talking about prescription drugs being advertised. We're teaching our kids drugs are the answer. Should they be permitted to advertise? Yeah, go ahead. Name the drug, the side effects, and tell them what it can do for you, and get the hell off the tube.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 1063 or listen anytime on the Extra 1063 app.
What if I told you that you could get the engagement ring and wedding bands of your dreams in up to 10 grand in your hand? Jaron Solomon here from Solomon Brothers Jewelers to announce our incredible Takori Bridal event, November 22nd through the 24th at all 3 Solomon Brothers locations. During this event, we will be offering up to $10,000 cash back on your Takori engagement ring and wedding bands, or 3 years interest-free financing. Your choice. Takori will be bringing all new, never-before-seen, handcrafted pieces that you are sure to love. And we're not stopping there. For the first time ever, Solomon Brothers will be including GIA-certified diamonds during this promotion. So put some diamonds on your fingers and up to 10 grand in your hand during our Takori Bridal event, November 22nd through the 24th at all 3 locations, Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. Shop us online at SolomonBrothers.com and on Instagram at Solomon Brothers.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPsETC.com.
Join Braves Vacations for some exciting road trips to historic cities and ballparks during the 2025 season. Fans can enjoy 3 games at Fenway Park in Boston to watch the Braves take on the Red Sox May 15th through the 19th, or head to Wrigley Field for 3 games against the Chicago Cubs August 31st through September 3rd. Road trip packages include deluxe hotel accommodations, game tickets, exclusive events with Braves team personnel, unique excursions, select meals, optional airfare, and more. Visit Braves.com/vacation to learn more.
Hey, Roswell. Looking for the perfect bite this football season? Head on over to Nucky's Hoagies Roswell Corners, where every sandwich is crafted with love by us.
The Sub Sisters,
Stacy
and Shannon. Whether you're looking to cater a football tailgate party or grabbing lunch to go or dining in, we've got delicious Nucky's menu items for you. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagies, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, with the freshest ingredients that'll make your taste buds dance.
Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell Corners on Woodstock Road your new favorite sandwich spot.
Get ready for Real Talk on the Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, November 12th. Patricia Mealy, a 89-year-old woman who went missing from the Greenwood Assisted Living Facility in Marietta, has been found dead. Mealy, who was hearing impaired and new to the facility, was confused and left without her glasses. A couple who were part of the search effort were walking through a park when they discovered her body floating in a pond at a nearby cemetery. Police say there is no indication that foul play was involved as they continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Atlanta police responded to a crash scene on Campbellton Road after a driver of a sedan collided with the back of a MARTA bus last night. The driver, who was seriously injured, was taken to the hospital where they later died from their injuries. Several passengers aboard the bus were also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still under investigation. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have acquired infielder Nick Allen from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for minor league right-hander Jared Johnson. Additionally, Braves pitcher Chris Sale has been named a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. The winner will be announced on November 20th. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Morning Extra is Extra 106.3, and the 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Where were you 7 days ago today when we reclaimed America, Angela?
I was hanging out with my family, watching the election returns, and going from high-frequency total anxiety freak out to complete calm of we are back on track as a country.
We're back.
We're back. We have never been more back.
That's exactly
I
right.
think when we were doing the show with Pete and with Kimmer, their anxiety, it kind of mirrored yours. They were talking about how they don't like how things are. They were really confident going in, and then they were very nervous. I felt like we would have the results I thought it would be earlier. I thought we would have it by 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. But the way things planned out, obviously, we all were up. We were all texting each other like 1:30 in the morning, finally like, it's over with. Pennsylvania's done. We're done.
I was surprised Pennsylvania, they got it done. I was really surprised because I saw what Arizona was going to do, and I knew, and we're still sitting here playing games because they're still going to try to steal the House, by the way. But the reality is that Pennsylvania did a good job, and you have to give so much credit to Trump's team. I mean, Scott Pressler was amazing registering people, making sure they knew where to be, how to get their votes in, and make sure they got their votes in. I'm really happy with the results, obviously. 312, a landslide. I kind of expected that. I said it should go that way, but I don't trust them.
But you were also with the scenarios of having to, when Pennsylvania attempted to try and stop some of their votes.
Yeah.
And the Laura Trump team and everybody else were like, no, you keep that vote count going. And it ended up being 140,000 more for Donald Trump. So that's why it got called at the point that it did. There was not going to be a 130,000, vote drop in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
It was good to see.
Angela is a visiting fellow with the Independent Women's Forum, and so is the spokeswoman for the Department of Education, which we've been talking about all this morning with her, with Trump's announcement that he would like to get rid of the DOE. Who do you think, because until then he's got to nominate someone to be the secretary, who do you expect that to be? Do you have any good guesses?
So I don't have any real names, but I do have a profile, like a pretty clear outline that we're thinking that person would or should fit. And they need to be someone with real executive leadership experience. I think there's this misconception that the Secretary of Education is America's teacher-in-chief when they're really not. It's a 4,000-person organization. Federal student aid is the country's largest consumer lender. So we need somebody who has run a large organization before, and ideally, I would say pretty importantly, has streamlined it, made it more efficient, made it better.
Elon Musk, like when he took over Twitter. That kind of guy.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. But we also want somebody who is going to go all in on civil rights for students, because what the Biden-Harris administration has tried to do with Title IX and putting men and women's sports restrooms and locker rooms is ridiculous. So we need somebody who's going to undo that harmful rule that's been done. And I could go down the list of, this next education secretary has their work cut out for them. But we also need somebody who is all in on a students first agenda, and that means school choice. This person should be willing to run headfirst at the teacher unions and say, no more. You guys are not in the driver's seat. That spot belongs to parents.
I have talked about how I want 95% of this agenda initially early on to be economic in nature, but I have the cutouts where I talked about, and get boys out of girls sports. But I'm with you. If there's somebody who has, I got room to grow. If you're telling me that school choice can be back on the table at some point over the next 18 months, I am completely for it, because that is economic development. that potentially happens in neighborhoods that really need it, because it's not just the idea of, well, bad neighborhoods give you bad schools. No, I think the inverse is bad schools give you bad neighborhoods.
Right. It's another vicious cycle that just repeats and repeats and repeats. And it can do that when we're assigning kids to school based on where they live and not based on how they learn best. It allows these terrible schools to continue limping along. And we see that in pretty much every big city. You see it most strongly in Chicago, where there are schools that are 90% empty.
Yeah.
And yet the union has said you can't close it because closing it is traumatic. Okay, well, was it traumatic when you kept kids out of school for COVID for like a year and a half?
So why don't we change those schools? And I kind of brought it up before, and I'm going to kind of revisit that because we never got to talk about it. But like a BOCES or a technical school here, you know, there's so many opportunities. If kids in certain areas and they want to be a rap star or a basketball star or work in sports, there's sports management programs we could do in these schools instead of other things that they're not going to excel at. Or what about audio editing, video editing, learning social media practices, learning how to do math for certain things like computer design? Like, why are we not getting into the technical aspects of what they should be learning and taking them out of those schools? Turn those schools that are empty into vocational workshops.
That's an incredible idea, because career and technical schools have been absolutely booming. And while this sort of started during COVID, that boom has continued. This was not a flash in the pan. This is people who are realizing that traditional college doesn't necessarily equip them for what they want to go out and do. So apprenticeship programs, career and tech programs, those are all on the rise because it benefits everybody, right? Well, everybody except the educational establishment, right?
Which we don't want to benefit them anyway. They've had plenty.
Totally. They have had their time. And it should have been about students from the start. So the idea that a student could go and learn nursing, or go and learn how to fix cars or how to work with machinery, just like you said, audio production, it's just easy for me to think of, right? Because we're in a radio
social
studio.
Media. I mean, there's such a good thing.
Yes, and these are all
Sports
learned
management.
by doing things.
Welding.
Totally.
You got plumbers, HVAC, linemen. I have a cousin who decided not to go to college and went to lineman school. He's got more work than he knows what to do with. He can afford a house, even with the inflated prices, because he lives at home still, because he's never home. He's always working. He's got a bank account that would make Bill Gates jealous, this kid. And he's like 22 years old and has so much money, don't know what to do with it, and so much work that he can't spend it.
I love that. I love hearing stories like that. One of the coolest schools that I've ever gotten to go tour and go visit was a career and tech school in rural South Carolina, like on steroids. They had a fire department where they were training firemen, and we got to watch a fire drill. They had a hair salon where people in the community were coming in and getting their hair done by students. They had a farm with a goat named Tom Brady, who I will never forget. Yes. And they also had a welding center, which I will never forget because I've never been anywhere like that. And there were literally sparks flying everywhere. I had a couple in my hair and was trying to make sure our reporters who were with us, I was trying to make sure their stuff didn't catch on fire. But these kids were graduating high school with an advanced welding certification. And that teacher, I've never seen somebody take that level of pride in helping so many people at once, because it is a big full room, it is loud, it is chaotic, and he's looking at me and saying, every kid in here is on their way to a great career the day after graduation. There aren't many schools that can say that.
Angela Morbido is our guest, and I wonder about that on a county by county basis, because in Forsyth County, we have the career path. And so if you want to study veterinary science, then even if it's out of your district, if it's within the county, you can go to a different high school. If you want to study automotive, there's a different school you can go to. My daughter, it started with going to Chef Academy camps. Now she's very into nutritional science. She picked the school based on the fact that they have a nutritional science program. Is this not something that should be available in every single county, or is it available in every single county?
That is not available everywhere, but it 100% should be. And also, I need to take lessons from your daughter, because I was the person standing in front of my fridge going, this is an election week fridge if there ever was one. This is so unhealthy.
Well, she has learned in her studies, and then when she's applied to it, she'll say, well, here's a vegan option, here's a vegetarian option, here's the way that if you happen to be, if you happen to have an iron deficiency, here's what you add to your food. It's like that's the sort of stuff where when she gets out of high school, hopefully that's something that she'll continue to follow as a career path, because she has an interest in it.
And that's something that can serve her for a lifetime. And I think we fall into this way of thinking of everybody goes through factory schooling, and then you're 18 and you graduate, and then you get to decide. I'm on the side of letting people specialize earlier.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
makes the
knew
most
that I
sense.
loved history and English pretty early on. I mean, friends of mine knew that they loved science and math pretty early on. So I think giving students that opportunity to really drill deep into something they love only benefits them.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the way I was. 9 years old, I picked up a Care Bear microphone that attached to my radio. I set it to 93.7, and I started talking about sports. I knew what I wanted to do. Luckily, I was in a high school in Syosset, New York, that had WKWZ, our own radio station that you could hear all over Long Island. So I said, hey, I want to be a part of this. We also had a TV production studio where I learned how to do that as well. I didn't care about math or any of the others. I mean, I got through it. I had to do it because I was told to, but I wanted to be in those studios all day working and trying to craft that skill. So maybe one day I would be, on the radio. Kind of worked out.
I hope there are pictures of you in the Care Bear.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
There are. There's video. There's video that my parents have. I don't know where it is. It's VHS of me walking around doing a fake Giants New York Jets game play-by-play with a Care Bear microphone.
Visiting fellow from the Independent Women's Forum, Angela Morabito, is our guest. You talked about pride in that school in South Carolina, the pride that teacher had, and I think that most teachers probably have that same pride when they see their students do well, and they want to see their students do well. But what about the ones that don't? What do we do there? How do we fix that problem? Because you're seeing it all over social media right now where teachers are talking about, I hope our kids choke on glass or something if they voted for Trump or if their parents voted for Trump. It's just weird stuff like that where politics are unfortunately a part of everyday curriculum and everyday discussions at schools. How do we fix that problem? Because I think a lot of parents are concerned about it.
I think you touched on something here, the idea of pride in schools. Just that phrase is a litmus test. To all of us, I think pride in schools means you take pride in what you do. To another part of the country, pride in schools means a rainbow flag at the front of your classroom. So this really starts with teacher prep. And I've spoken at a handful of universities, and I love to do it. And I ask the students everywhere I go, say, okay, raise your hand if you're in a teacher prep program. I get a few hands up in every room. Okay, can you tell me about your classes? And everywhere I go, they tell me it's insufferably woke. So if you are somebody who just wants to help students learn, the deck is really kind of stacked against you. Because even in your training, they're going to expect you to push this woke nonsense on kids when that's not what great teachers signed up to do. So I think we have to value teachers as individuals the way we value students as individuals. And right now, the system doesn't do that either. Every teacher sort of gets pushed into something where your tenure matters more than your achievement. I think great teachers should be paid through the roof. If you're incredible at what you do, you should have the ability to rise through the ranks and be compensated accordingly. But the factory schooling model doesn't allow for that. So if we want more great teachers to enter the profession, to stay in the profession, and to take real pride in what they do, we've got to start treating them better. And that means not pushing woke nonsense on them, not forcing them to tolerate bad student behavior, and not constantly dumbing down what they do. They didn't sign up to be babysitting 30 kids at once. They signed up to teach, and empowering them to do that and expecting them to do that is going to be to everyone's benefit.
One more thing. What about getting men involved in schools? Because I feel like that is something that we dearly lack. I remember the handful of male students that my son had, and he loved them. He just thought they were the greatest because they were like the unicorn. They were the anomaly. Yes. How do we fix that with men?
That's a really great question. I think that schools for a long time have not been male-friendly places. It has been sit at a desk and read quietly instead of run around and play and learn that way. So I think if there's a general appreciation for the fact that boys and girls tend to learn differently, and one method is no better than the other, they're both great. They're both helpful.
For who they're tailored to.
Exactly. I think that is how you get men more involved in teaching. And I think there is this wrong and harmful assumption that any man who wants to work with kids is, somehow harmful or predatory. Yeah. It's so harmful and it is so untrue.
Yeah.
And it is this weird societal suspicion that a lot of people have that doesn't belong there, but I understand why it's there because schools for a long time have not done enough to combat sexual misconduct in schools. If we knew that everybody in school was totally clean, totally fine, totally safe, that's more respect for teachers. That's more people who want to go into teaching.
Mr. Westerberg, Dr. Deaton, these are men that I had during my educational process where because it was different, because it was outside of the norm to have a man teaching in school. It stuck with me because there was a different kind, like Mr. Westerman would make fun of how his wife makes fun of him. And like that always stuck out to me. Like when we read Ricky Tikki Tavi and the character was Nag, he's like the character is Nog, Nag is my wife. You know, so there's stuff that sticks out. And as somebody who loved English, I love those sort of classes. So yeah, no, I definitely think there's a place not just for coaches, but just teachers.
Yes.
I had the same thing. You know, I had two teachers, Mr. Orr and Mr. DeMacy. I mean, those were the guys in my life. And Mr. Casey, he was our football coach.
That's the reason I bring up the question. My son could name all of his, too.
Yeah. He punched me in the chest because he was mad at me. I tried cigarettes, and I was on the hockey team, and he was also the football coach. And it wasn't my cigarettes. It was someone else's that he was afraid, so I put him in my pocket. I said, I'll give them to you later. I took them from him. He punched me in the chest and crushed him. But that was a good lesson.
But that's the thing. Look at just two examples. My son being the third, and look, Mr. McDonald was an important teacher to me. And all three of us, and then my son included, can remember the male teacher that they had and how much influence, positive influence, they had over our life. And we are failing at getting men involved in the educational process. And I think that is something we direly need to fix.
We are. I can name I could name dozens and dozens of teachers and professors in my background who I still look up to, but especially the men in my high school were really cool because they were really different. We had Mr. Domenico, Mr. Nixon, Coach Adams, Mr. Adams, who were two different people, funny enough. I'm not double dipping there. But they were, Mr. Teeters, they were really, really incredible teachers because they were willing to think a little differently. And I think there were female teachers willing to think differently too, but you needed that mix.
Yeah.
I think if you walk into any teaching department and everybody's all men or all women, you're missing out on a really important perspective. And we had some who would swear in class, and that was like the coolest thing.
You thought it was
How rough they are. That was Coach Casey for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. It's so incredible.
But how do we get rid of some of the woke ones? You know, like I had one of those too. I had the Lysol lady who used to run around. She was so afraid of germs. She would spray us in the face with Lysol if we sneezed or made a sound, and she was the crazy one. But I also had like Miss Dowd, who was my math teacher, who worked so hard to try to help me understand fractions and all the things that I would never, ever need again. But she was such a great teacher and got me through it.
Oh my gosh. And I had Miss Bryan, who was an English teacher who would, she is the reason I am like a weirdo about commas, that I am like the editor. I have edited my friends' like wedding programs. I have edited like weird random things. And it's because you get a teacher you can't, because it gets baked into you. And she would play music while we wrote. So now, I mean, I would have friends in college who had to write their essays in like this hermetically sealed environment, and I'm like, no, I should be in like chaos because I love the noise, I love the music.
That's great.
I mean, I could spend the next 15 minutes just listing history teachers, but yeah, it's the idea that school should be a really great place to think differently and a really uncomfortable place to be woke.
Can we outlaw like purple hair and blue hair and?
No, but I like freedom of expression. It's not my thing. It's not, and I get it. I'm with you, dude. I get, but
as long as my hair's not purple.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, make sure teachers are have some sort of standards.
Make them dress like old school marms. All of them.
Come on now. This is the Morning Extra. Angela, thank you so much for bringing your expertise in, and you're always welcome back. You know that. This is Extra 106.3. When we continue, the Democrats have no bench, so 2028 could be continuation of common sense government. Next on Extra 106.3.
The latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust. Your best new follow on social media is Extra 106.3. We're at XTRA 106.3 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events, and so much more. Follow @Extra1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Learn more at USPS.com/advantage.
The end of the year is closing in, and with it, another tax year comes to an end. As you prepare to file your taxes, consider the efficiency of your tax strategy. Have you maximized your IRA and Roth contributions? Do you have an RMD strategy in place? Are you making moves now to maximize your future tax-free income? Not only is the year end fast approaching, but the 2017 tax cuts sunset at the end of 2025, placing many Americans in a higher tax bracket. Don't just report your taxes, plan for them. Contact Master Plan Retirement Consultants now to create a retirement plan specifically designed for you. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation, where we can illustrate your retirement outlook and create a plan together for your future. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth, or they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And the Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
The future is so bright for the Republicans. We have 4 years of Donald Trump, and then likely J.D. Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy or Ron DeSantis. There's so many names that you can pull that are incredible for the future of the conservative movement and the Republican Party. The Democrats, on the other hand, they're more like Guns N' Roses. Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Oh, where do we go now? Because they have nobody. Their bench is empty. They have no heir apparent for 2028.
Anywhere you look, John, everywhere you look, the Democrats are in this deep, dark state because they have no heir apparent, the incumbent president's unpopular, and they hold no levers of power in Washington, most likely come January. The bottom line is we'll see where we are in 2 years. We're just getting over this election. We don't have to go all the way jump into 2026 already, but the bottom line is this. For Democrats, there's no real light at the end of the tunnel. It's always darkest before it's pitch black, as John McCain once says.
They got plenty of time, to the point. They got plenty of time to find somebody, but every one of their options suck. Gavin Newsom, the guy that lost.
What are you talking about? That's a superstar. Listen,
I know.
Gavin Newsom is a superstar. Don't like he's going to be the guy.
The guy that lost more Californians than any other governor.
Don't matter.
That's what they're going for. Gretchen Whitmer,
Did they vote him out?
That organized an FBI, a fake FBI kidnapping
don't
plot.
matter.
Those are the people that they have to choose from.
They work.
In new media, I don't know that they will.
How about J.B. Pritzker? That's a billionaire that they love. He's done a great job up there in their eyes. They think it's great. These three people, it doesn't matter what they do wrong. It doesn't matter how much the deficit is. They get away with this thing. Kamala Harris came out of California with just a completely ridiculous record, and look where she got to, okay? And then she lost. Now, I don't think Gavin Newsom could win if he goes down that, but I think he's smarter than the Democrats give him credit for. I think he plays his own games. Look what he's done and what he'll continue to do. All of a sudden, he's like, yeah, I understand the border's an issue. Hey, we got to slow the border down here, too. So he will play the game up to a point, and that's why I think he'll be the next guy.
You're going to have an issue with Gavin Newsom, and I've seen what he's doing. He was already trying to move towards the center by, for instance, vetoing their reparations bill.
Right.
There were things that he was like, I'm not going to be able to get on a national stage and compete in an election with a Donald Trump acolyte if I go down this road. The issue you then have, like J.B. Pritzker makes a lot more sense to me because you're not coming from the West Coast. You're not coming from that wild area. Gretchen Whitmer's a woman. I'm sorry. We've now seen that go 0 for 2. Do you really want to do the pantsuit 0 for 3 thing? I mean, let's just face it how it goes.
Nobody likes her, really.
And Josh Shapiro, unfortunately, is Jewish. So these are issues that they have. And these are not issues for me, of course. This is issues for their own voters.
Which is the whole point, and that's the reason I bring it all up. CNN's in the same camp. They're like, where do we go? We got nothing. We got nobody. And that's the thing. I know what you're saying when it comes to the people that they do have, but they're poor choices.
Oh, they're horrible choices. I'm not saying they're good choices, but that's what their bench is, and that's the route they're going to go.
It's bad.
They also have a guy here in Georgia, Raphael Warnock, that they feel is a good representative, and I think he's a horrible, horrible candidate. But they pick horrible candidates. And I'll tell you who else, Mark Kelly out of Arizona. That's some guy that is going to be somebody who is going to be a very, very strong candidate come the future. There are going to be people who come up. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is going to be pushed because they love him. They're going to push him as far as they can possibly push him into a national spotlight. There are a lot of people on their side they think they can win with. I don't think, now I'm with you, I don't think any of these are good picks. I'm just saying that's the bench they think they can win with. They're not going to beat a J.D. Vance or a Ron DeSantis
but the
or any of the bench
they can win with it.
Of course they can't win with it. They're not going to win.
Your issue is going to be because J.D. Vance is who he is, and we're going to have a very interesting scenario. If let's just say it was Pritzker, you're going to see those two on a debate stage, and Pritzker's like 3 J.D. Vances put in 1. Like you're going to say you're talking about physical discipline and being out, yet look at you slovenly man. And I'm sorry, that is a factor when it comes down to this stuff. That's so much of the reason when Governor Christie was at the height of his powers, it never went anything beyond New Jersey because you went, don't tell me about discipline when you look this way.
Yeah. Look, again, I don't think it's winning. Now, let me throw this to you two. What if they do go for a Chris Christie, and I don't know if he'll switch parties, a Liz Cheney who will, an Adam Kinzinger, a Jeff Duncan, any of those traitors who would go because they don't like Donald Trump and go for a socialist or a Marxist, you think maybe we can convert them over. Again, I don't think it's a winning message. They'd never win because I think a lot of people would see who they are, and Liz Cheney was a horrible idea, but I wonder if they'd go across the aisle to anybody who defected those anti-Trump people.
They really only have, in my opinion, one really great option that kind of fits the bill of everything. It's Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah.
The problem is he's gay. And that's not going to serve him well in the black community.
Exactly. Or the Hispanic.
It's not going to serve him well when it comes to that community. And quiet as secret kept, that's the reason why you can get elected in South Bend. All right. You can get elected in this lily-white area. Here's what it's going to be. South Bend's a little bit more mixed. But once you try and take that nationally and somebody says, so explain to me how you took this amount of time off when you adopted a son.
I think it's less to do with him being gay. I think that's an issue, don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's for community it is.
For sure it is. No, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying by and large for the whole country, I think it's less of an issue. But I think it's a huge issue when you talk about that time off and when you talk about chest feeding and all that other. Americans just rejected all of that. I don't know how you try to recycle it back in.
You want to watch the Hispanic vote and the black vote push further into the Republican end?
That's the way to do it.
Hand him over Pete Buttigieg. But again, he has everything you want. Military service, got the look, got the family.
Yep.
It's just that he's gay, and that would be a problem with those minority communities.
We have a chance to end Obama's legacy, and he knows it. After 8, Neil Bortz report, the Fox News Update. More of the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Interesting week, don't you think? A lot of celebrating, a lot of whining, a lot of blame placing, a lot of excuse making. One real high point is now I think we can all be assured, after reading the tea leaves, that the hyena's day as a political player in America is severely limited. Kamala Harris is going to disappear as quickly as Michael Dukakis did. It seems somebody named Michael T. Adams has done us all a favor by producing a list of all of the celebrities that promised they would leave America if Trump won. You want to hear it? I'll read fast. And as I do, ask yourself if this country would be better or worse off if they actually did pack their bags and take a hike. Adam Baldwin, Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, Rob Reiner, Barbara Streisand, Cher, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Megan Rapinoe, Tom Hanks, Amy Schumer, AOC, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, Bill Gates, Jane Fonda, Madonna, Mark Ruffalo, Kim Kardashian, Bruce Springsteen, George Clooney, Hunter Biden, Oprah, Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, Miley Cyrus, Travis Kelce, Bobby Althoff. All together now, who the hell is Bobby Althoff? Rashida Tlaib, Stormy Daniels, Anthony Fauci, George Soros, Diddy, he can't leave, he's in jail. Eminem, Ellen DeGeneres, Sean Penn, Sharon Stone, Ashley Judd, Tommy Lee, Bryan Cranston, and Billy Joe Armstrong. Who dat? But here's a bonus list Michael Adams created. Cher actually says she will blow her brains out. Rob Reiner is going to set himself on fire. Bono is going to drive his car off a cliff, and Bette Midler is going to drink Drano right out of the bottle. Can we make it pay-per-view? Oh, and Bobby Althoff is apparently a podcaster. Wowzer. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
I've been with EMC Security for over 10 years, and their service and support are always fantastic. There's nothing better than a business that understands that great service earns loyalty, unlike companies that rely on contracts. Plus, their prices are unbeatable, and they're always focused on solving any issues quickly.
It's time to experience long-term satisfaction and true customer care. EMC Security, exceeding customer expectations since 1998. Visit emcsecurity.com for a free quote.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Quit kowtowing to less than 1% of the freaks, throwing out 20,000 years of human civilization for a bunch of freaks who are mentally ill.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Team Trump's coming together. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A source tells Fox News Digital South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is expected to be President-elect Trump's Homeland Security Secretary nominee. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is expected to serve as Secretary of State, representing America abroad.
Marco Rubio is in the midst of his third term. Prior to the U.S. Senate, he spent 8 years in the Florida State House of Representatives, 2 of them as that chamber's speaker. He attempted a presidential run in 2016, where he infamously squabbled with then-candidate Donald Trump, though eventually the two found common ground and became fierce allies. Rubio is a long-serving member of the Senate's Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committees. In Broward County, Florida, Eben Brown, Fox News.
In New York City, Judge Juan Merchan is expected to announce today whether he'll throw out President-elect Trump's criminal conviction.
If the judge upholds the verdict, the case would be on track for sentencing on November 26th. A jury convicted the president-elect in May on charges of falsifying business records related to a $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels in 2016. The option to dismiss follows the Supreme Court's ruling that presidents have broad immunity from criminal prosecution.
Fox's Brooks Singman. Democrat Ruben Gallego wins his Arizona Senate race against Republican Carrie Lake. There's a forum today for Senate Republicans now taking over the majority to hear from leadership candidates.
Republicans will elect their first new Senate leader since 2007, with current Minority Leader Mitch McConnell stepping down. Current whip and number 2, John Thune, is facing off against Texas Senator John Cornyn and Florida's Rick Scott.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. U.S. flights to Haiti could be suspended after 2 planes are hit by gunfire in the air close to the airport in Port-au-Prince. The Federal Aviation Administration could announce a decision on that today. The airport shut down for at least a week. America's listening to Fox News.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry. Terry! Terry! Keep awkwardly chanting your own name, Terry. You deserve it. Woo! Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
I wake up every morning with the Morning Extra.
Tug, Rhino, and Losa on the Morning Extra bonus hour. We made it to 9 o'clock. We'll lead into the Glenn Beck program from 10 until noon to 3. Clay Travis, Buck Sexton. And then the local afternoon show with the Kimmer, Pete and Flounder Kimmer Show, 3 until 6. I hope everybody has relaxed a little bit. Because of the golf tournament on Friday, Kimmer Show was off, and the emails and voicemails and messages were just overwhelming. He's back. Everything's okay. Let's take a breath. Just step back, take a breath.
We know now that during those commercials, we're going to put promos in like, hey, we didn't get canceled. We'll be back tomorrow. We're out playing golf.
That's exactly right,
My
man.
goodness.
So, and the funny thing is, the last couple times that's happened, I did that, right? I made sure that we had stuff in there.
I do remember that. Yeah, we did that last year.
And I because I was out of town, I don't know, wasn't forward thinking enough. It's my fault. I'll take the blame for it. That people had that much of a meltdown. So Kimmer's back. He's fine.
Blame Flounder.
Flounder, it's damn Flounder's fault.
Flounder is the best executive producer in the world, and he should have had that done. He should have known better that people were going to freak out when Kimmer left.
Getting us all
So Flounder, get your crap together and don't let that happen agagen.
Goodness.
Next time, Kimmer has to get his face done because he messed up his teeth by grinding them around a girl. And I want you to go ahead and put in there, the reason Kimmer's not here is because he messed up. as usual.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution. Since 1999, they are giving some deserving family a new roof for Christmas. If you would like to nominate that deserving family, you can do that at southernexteriors.co. A free roof for a deserving family. Nominate them at southernexteriors.co. Got to get the website right, southernexteriors.co. I think Barack Obama's on the ropes right now. He has to be looking at everything that's happened around him and see it completely falling apart. And now with the election 7 days ago, having completely fallen apart. And now his legacy is on the line, and he knows it, and he's nervous about it.
Considering that when Barack Obama got into office, this was really the start of woke politics. It was the mind virus that took time for it to infiltrate the entirety of the country. Remember, the very first thing that he did when he got into office, he started that apology tour. We're going to go and apologize to the rest of the world how America's acted. Y'all have all been the victims, and we have been a victim of our own prejudice. This is who we are as Americans, and we're sorry for it. And it created, I still remember a good friend of mine, when I was watching some of these videos and seeing him go apologize around the world, I had an issue with it. And he told me, hey, you need to humble yourself.
Yeah.
Like, why? We're Americans. We've spilled more blood and more treasure in the interest of freedom in this world than any country out there. Now, granted, we're not always a good guy. I point that out on a regular basis. But you're not supposed to be apologizing for who you are. And so that festered into what became woke politics. Always apologize. You're always wrong. You're inherently racist. You might not have, you've never said or thought a racist thing in your mind, which is pretty much impossible, but that was the whole idea. You may never have acted on any racism, yet you were inherently racist. It all started with Obama, and this is an opportunity under Donald Trump to take all of that crap and wad it up like a piece of paper in American history and toss it in the garbage.
But the important part is to do what Carlos does so well. And I see it every single day, which is just don't give them the time of the day to do it. Just shut them down and be done with them. Don't fall into their traps. And so many people are like, I got to walk on eggshells. Stop walking on eggshells. Just be like, hey, I'm not going to deal with this anymore.
Right.
I'm not racist. You can say whatever you want. I don't even care. I'm done. I'm not going to apologize. I'm done. And I think that's important. And that's what I love, because Carlos brought this up the other day and he showed me a video of all the frat boys doing the Donald Trump dance. And it's an amazing thing. This is the new right Carlos and I have been talking about for a long time. This is the younger version of, hey, we're not that, buckled up kind of person that's afraid to curse, afraid to say things, afraid to be in your face, is always going to be nice to you and just say, oh, bless your heart. We're not that way anymore. We're the new right. We are memeing better than you. We are shutting you down. We are telling you that you're being ridiculous, and we have no problem. We're not going to apologize for it anymore.
But if you, and this is where I talk about it, this is a way to take woke politics and this Obama era stuff that started. Remember, we didn't have safe spaces.
No.
Until Barack Obama. We didn't have,
nonsense.
We never had the term of microaggression until Barack Obama. Like, this is
I
where
still
this all
don't get
comes.
that one.
So stupid.
It's these little things that you didn't mean to do. You didn't mean to say. Like, if I was to say, you're 5 minutes late. Well, that's a microaggression based on racism, based on your standard of time. That was the silliness of what they were doing. And here was the idea. It was to make everybody a victim. And so what I am telling you, if you're a gay American, don't apologize for being a gay American. If you're a black American who voted for Trump, don't apologize to anybody for that.
No.
If you're a Hispanic American who you're working 60 hours a week and you're upset that they have a problem with your machismo, don't apologize for it. What I'm telling you is throughout the entirety of our society, we have an opportunity now to say, here's what I am, and I ain't sorry for it.
Nope.
It's okay. It's absolutely okay to be who you are. But it's okay that you don't feel necessary, because I don't feel it necessary to go out and tell everybody who I am.
No.
Right? I have no desire to go. I'm just going to live my life and be comfortable. And if somebody comes at me like you guys were talking about, because I was always reluctant to say something back. And now I'm just like, I do not care what you think of me.
But
okay.
That like my give a damn is
We've been
busted.
pushing this on you.
No,
We've
I
been
know,
trying to
no,
get
I
you
know
there.
that, I know
Like,
that.
we need to keep testing him, Carlos.
But I'm going to continue as a Christian, because my faith is the center of my universe. That's what's most important to me. Kindness, reflecting Christ's love to each and every person is what I'm going to do. However, at the same time, I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel like I owe anybody an apology for it.
What the left tells Rhino is that, Rhino, you're Jewish. Like, yes, I'm a proud Jewish man. but you're also a victim, and so you need us, because if you don't have us, and they're trying to have you buy into, at the same time, a victimization mentality while also apologizing for who you are. What I'm telling you is, in this new era, don't buy into victimhood and don't apologize for who you are. I don't care what you happen to be. Don't apologize for it, and you're not a victim of it either, because that is what has empowered them, and that started with Barack Obama and his legacy. That legacy, we can burn it down the next 4 years.
Yeah, there's no reason to. It's one of the things that Democrats do that drive me absolutely insane. They have no respect for black men and women at all when I watch it. And it's it's the black men and women who are in this Democrat Party that don't recognize their own aggression towards that group. To say to someone that, you don't even really know how a computer works, so we're going to help you with that, or you can't get internet, or you can't get an ID, or you'll never get out of poverty, so you need abortion. How insulting is that? And don't apologize. Say, oh, well, I'm sorry, I should vote for you. I didn't realize I need to have abortion clinics in my neighborhood so that they can, get rid of a majority of the black babies in this country. Stand up for that. Please stand up for that, because I want to see people have a wonderful life. I want to see these neighborhoods get better and better and better. So you need to organize and say, hey, this is what we want. We want better education. We want better schools, and ask for the programs that Angela and us were talking about. Stop apologizing for who you are.
If there's something that has occurred with the new right that I hope the Democrats can start to figure it out, or otherwise come over to my end. The idea is we're demanding more from our politicians because they serve us, because we individually are all special. We are the ones who say, I'm sending you over to the Senate, state Senate, national, wherever. I'm sending you here because your job is to do the work for me. It's not to enrich yourself. Now, the problem is the Democrats have bought in this mentality with their voting base is, I'm sending you here because I'm a victim and I need you to fight for me. No. At that point, you've surrendered power to these people. You're their boss. And until you see yourself like that, until you're not apologizing for who you are and buying into a victimization mentality, they're always going to take advantage of you.
We don't have the cut to play, but I saw a great cut of Tom Holman doing that exact same thing when Rashida Tlaib, they were going back and forth, and she was trying to shut him down. She didn't want him to say what he was saying. And he said, ma'am, you work for me.
Yeah.
And he was so clear. He didn't mince his words. He didn't back down. And that's the way you have to be with politicians. You don't have to be rude. You just have to be direct.
Yeah, I mean, I've been direct with a lot of them, but I do it in a nice way. Look, Andrew Clyde is my representative up in Hiawassee in Towns County. I make sure that when I see him, I talk to him about, hey, this is what we're looking at. What do you see? What do you hear? What are you going to do? I'm lucky that he represents me the way I want to be represented. If he didn't, and if they don't represent you, that's the importance of getting into local races and getting into school board races and finding out who's who and talking to them. They should answer your calls. They work for you. If they don't answer your calls, you keep calling every single day until they do. Or you find them and ask them nicely, hey, I've been calling. I've been trying to get, you work for me. I am going to vote for you, but I want to know where you stand on this. And it's so important, especially locally now.
I love the fact that there are some senators who feel pressure to vote for Rick Scott to be the next speaker, the Senate Majority Speaker. That goes back to kind of what we're talking about. The fact that they feel the pressure from the people that they represent. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want. And I love the fact that they're cracking under the pressure. I love the fact that they're whining about it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm feeling pressure on social media to have to vote a certain way. Good.
That's like
and I want
literally
it to
what you're
continue.
supposed to do.
That's right. And I want it to continue. I want people to be calling. I want people to email. I want people to show up.
They're trying to intimidate us.
That's exactly right.
No, we're trying to tell you what we want.
And that's who
What you should be.
answer to. That's the whole point.
Yeah, you should be intimidated. But again, intimidated in the fact that you're going to lose your job if you don't do what the American people put you in the place to do. I want certain things. And I will tell every single representative, like I said, Andrew Clyde's easy. He owns a gun store. I want to make sure that my AR-15s are there so that when I am in Hiawassee, I can protect whatever I decide to have there, whether it's calves or any other kind of animals, so that I can fend off some of the Russian hogs and some of the cats that run down that mountain. I know he's going to defend my right in that. I also know that he's going to make sure that my zoning is still there. I talk to him. I tell him this is what we want. You need to be doing that with everyone. And if they're not listening to you, then you better vote them out. And I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican.
No, because the Republicans are just as bad and just as guilty.
Absolutely. Listen, if I was in Savannah, I would really be in Buddy Carter's ear more. There are a lot of things that I'm like, why are you sending money to Ukraine? All you're doing is getting more Russians and more innocent Ukrainians killed. That's all you're doing. And you're taking our money instead of working there. These are the kind of things that, even though I like Buddy Carter a lot, I think he's a good dude. I like talking to him. There are things that I disagree with, and I'm going to tell him this is what we want. Tug's going to tell him too, and we're not even from Savannah.
No, that's right.
It'll be nice when we can end this conflict extremely quickly. And at that point, we don't have to worry about dollars heading out there. But it does then end up calling into, it does end up calling into question. Look at how much frivolous spending we've had in the interest of foreign wars and people that aren't supposed to be here versus our own people. And part of the reason I firmly believe that you had not just it was pretty much, it was across the board, as I think it was MSNBC had put it when they talked to Charlemagne the God. They're like, look at people of color. And he's like, you just mean black people? It's like, no, everybody. Everybody moved right, because what they were upset about is you could have been doing so much to help some of our communities that are just looking for economic opportunities, and yet you were sending that overseas to a war that nobody cares about in this country outside of the crazy left, and helping people that aren't supposed to be here.
It's 100% correct, man. And I love the fact that Americans finally stood up and said, we will have no more of this. And when they speak, holy cow, do they speak loudly. It is so, it's echoing still today, 7 days later, the loud, in sync voice that they spoke with. We are tired of everything you're putting forward. We're tired of wars, especially ones that have no benefit for anybody in the United States. We're tired from the woke politics that Carlos brought up, that Barack Obama has started, and hopefully we got a chance to move away from. We are tired of the border being wide open. We're tired of it all, and we're speaking loudly. You better damn listen.
Yeah, I think you need to listen, because if nothing but the popular vote tells you that the American people are upset, but then go ahead and look at those groups that they said, they should have voted, like the Hispanic groups. They don't even realize, and that's where the Democrats don't realize their own voter base. They thought, we're going to play this game that Puerto Rico's not full of garbage. They knew it. Puerto Ricans knew it. And so as hard as AOC and all of them tried to make it seem like Republicans are racist, Hispanics still added to the landslide victory for Donald Trump in a record fashion. Why? Because they're more conservative than you think. They want certain things. They don't care about the racist things that, they pretend that Republicans say, because it doesn't happen. They know better. When they start hearing that, they're dumb for voting for him, that's when you turn them. When they start looking at, hey, abortion's not good, we don't like that, we're more conservative and religious than you, they don't know their own base. But their base also doesn't speak up and say, hey, hold on one second. I'm also Hispanic, and I also kind of understand why these people are going to vote for Trump. So let me tell you why. They're not going to listen to their own people. We need to.
I want to play you just a piece of Senator Scott and why he should be the Senate Majority Leader.
Here's what I bring to the table. I clearly believe in the Trump agenda, number one. I'm a business guy that has success doing exactly what we need to do in the Senate. We need to have a plan. We need to work a plan. We need to have a team. We need to measure ourselves. If we want to get all the nominees done, we've got to figure out a plan to get it done. If we want to get a balanced budget, we got to start today to get a balanced budget. If we want to get the border secure, if we want to get whatever policies we have to get through Congress, we have to have a plan, just like what you do in business. I ran a company with 285,000 employees. We had a written plan for everything to get it done. My colleagues have told me they want change. They want to be treated as equal. They want to be part of a team. They want to have an agenda. They want to have a great relationship with the House. They know I have a great relationship with Speaker Mike Johnson. So I'm very optimistic that I'm going to win because I'm representing Trump's agenda and what my colleagues want.
I love the fact that people are feeling pressure to vote for him, because the thing that stood out to me, I ran a company with 285,000 employees. We had a written plan for everything to get it done. He knows how to prepare. He's very much like Donald Trump. He's ran businesses, and this is the way this federal government needs to operate. That's why he's the right guy for the job. I don't know that he'll get it, but he's the right guy for the job.
I don't believe he will. It is our favorite choice out of the three, but this is where you're still going to have Washington politics play into this. You know, Donald Trump is going to win a lot, okay? Like, there's going to be the confirmations and all the things he's going to need. Recess appointments are going to be a big deal. If it means that you're going to basically get Mitch McConnell's hand-picked successor out of the people he wants in order to then help complete your agenda, yes, it's a small
good one.
It's a small kick in the stomach, but this is how you have to play the game if you're going to get all the stuff you want to.
I think he knows better now to vet them out the right way and know what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And hopefully he says, you're going to listen to the American people. This is what they want.
Because these
You're in a good
people
place.
in the Senate who feel like, oh, well, they're calling and they're intimidating us and they're pushing us around. You know what their response to this stuff is? Well, let's mess with Trump's appointees.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's, all right, you get your person as majority leader. Now give Trump what he's going to get. Like I said, this is going to have to be a give and take with what goes on with the establishment versus Trump.
It is, but let me tell you, he's not going to be able to be afraid to fire people either. That's the other thing, right? When he doesn't get the right person in that spot.
No. What I'm saying is, if you don't play games with the establishment Republicans in the Senate, they will mess with your appointees. They will slow play them. They will delay them. You're going to have to play games.
Sure.
You're going to have to play a little bit of their games and let them have a little victory here and there. And it sucks, but that's why Rick Scott won't be the pick on Wednesday.
Right. But at the same time, Trump knows that. I mean, as a businessman, right? You have to, in business,
you have to play the game here.
You have to. Absolutely. So I agree with that. But I love the fact that when things get down to the nitty-gritty, he will lay down the lumber to get his way. I do believe that, too. When we continue, where Kamala Harris went wrong with celebrities, and now it's haunting her and the entire Democrat Party after headlines on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Extra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
Oh, you're going to like this. We're going to have more politics here in a minute, but I don't feel like talking about it. You're going to like this. This is from Dagingo or some freaking thing, some Gmail thing. Flounder and Pete, I thought you would like this. My wife and I went to a shop a little late yesterday, and so we listened to you on YouTube from the start. My wife said, "Are you sure that's today's show? He's told that story before."
That's every day of the show. That's called Birthdays and Histories.
What an optimist.
Are you sure that's today's show? He's told that story before. I just looked at her. He's told that story before. Maybe like 8 years ago.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. The future of business in Georgia is bright, and Georgia Power is a driving force behind the businesses and organizations that are vital to the growth of the state. Organizations like Georgia Tech.
Hi, this is Jay Batten, Director of Athletics here at Georgia Tech. This is an incredible place. The history of success, the coaches that have been here, everybody from Heisman to Coach Dodd to Coach Curry to Coach Ross, and even now to Coach Key. We've got this tremendous history of success. This is an anchor here in Midtown Atlanta. This is such a growing, vibrant market, particularly for college sports. Atlanta has one of the highest percentages of college sports fans for any major metro. The work being done over my shoulder is a first of many steps towards our continued evolution towards the very highest level and reestablishing Georgia Tech athletics at that championship caliber. We continue to invest in the fan experience here in Bobby Dodd.
To learn more about how Georgia Power is helping businesses big and small, visit GeorgiaPower.com and tune in all year to discover how they're powering the future of Georgia.
As the year comes to a close, now is the perfect time to evaluate your estate plan to protect your hard-earned assets from the high tax rates. Nelson Elder Care Law is here to help you keep your assets secure for future generations. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid planning, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, we protect what matters most to you. Schedule a free legacy planning meeting today to discover how we can help families just like yours. Don't let the government decide how to spend your money. Contact us at 678-250-9355. 678-250-9355. Or visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com. Nelson Elder Care Law, your partner in asset protection.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where this weekend we're inviting you to our Takori holiday event, where you can shop an extended collection of engagement rings, wedding bands, and new fashion jewelry, all handcrafted in the USA. Takori's collection includes new and trending designs, classic styles with a signature touch, and incredible matching wedding bands. They're fully customizable, so you can try on all your options and have your dream ring handcrafted in time for a holiday proposal, all with the help of the expert team at D. Geller & Son. As always, we have the best loose diamond value in Atlanta, and we'll have an incredible selection, plus jewelers on site to get your new Takori ring ready on the spot. To make it even more special, you can get up to 24 months 0% APR financing, or up to $1,000 back in Amex gift cards. Just like the holidays, this amazing event only comes once a year. So come join us at our Takori holiday event, only at D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, November 12th. Patricia Mealy, a 89-year-old woman who went missing from the Greenwood Assisted Living Facility in Marietta, has been found dead. Mealy, who was hearing impaired and new to the facility, was confused and left without her glasses. A couple who were part of the search effort were walking through a park when they discovered her body floating in a pond at a nearby cemetery. Police say there is no indication that foul play was involved as they continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding her death. Atlanta police responded to a crash scene on Campbellton Road after a driver of a sedan collided with the back of a MARTA bus last night. The driver, who was seriously injured, was taken to the hospital where they later died from their injuries. Several passengers aboard the bus were also taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash is still under investigation. And in sports, the Atlanta Braves have acquired infielder Nick Allen from the Oakland Athletics in exchange for minor league right-hander Jared Johnson. Additionally, Braves pitcher Chris Sale has been named a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. The winner will be announced on November 20th. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors. They're doing a roof giveaway for Christmas. If you know a deserving family in need of a brand new roof, nominate them at southernexteriors.co. Get the website right. It's important to do that. southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co. Roof giveaway for a deserving family this holiday season. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. I don't care about celebrities. I'm unimpressed by celebrities. I have no desire to be around celebrities. I have no interest in it whatsoever.
You are a celebrity.
Well, that's definitely not the case. But that's the thing, though. The left, and some people on the right, too, they fall in love with celebrities. They think celebrities mean something. They think celebrities bring something that everyday Americans do not, and I completely disagree with that way of thinking.
They bring delusion.
Yeah, that's right. But that's the thing. I think regular, everyday Americans don't. So maybe if there's one thing that they do provide, it's that, and we need less of it. Goodness gracious. But that's the thing. Kamala Harris pretty much banked and anchored her entire election strategy around celebrity. She paid Oprah, allegedly paid Oprah $1 million to get the endorsement. Oprah was asked about it and said, no, it's not it. That's not what happened. But there's the paper trail that shows they paid Harpo 2 installments of $500,000. So there's just one example of many that Kamala did and used, and it did nothing but fail and backfire because I think people don't give a damn what celebrities think.
Yeah, she paid to be on Oprah's little TV thing. So, I don't know. The reality is this, that they are so out of touch, and that's where I think they lost with the American people. When Kamala Harris came out here, they want to make fun of Hulk Hogan, a real American hero, and a guy who went up there and kind of talked about why it was so important to have somebody like Donald Trump in, and at the same time, they go, look at this guy, he's a blah, 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 wrestler, fake, blah, blah, blah. You bring up a rapper who talks about using her vagina to get to a higher place, and that's what the music you came out to, Kamala Harris? That's ridiculous. You throw out there that, hey, Beyonce's going to be at the DNC, doesn't show up. Hey, Beyonce's going to perform here, or this, that, and the other. But that's not even the worst part. They want to know why they lost with women. They want to know why they lost with minorities. Because you pandered with the wrong people. You can't go out and tell women, number one, we want you to come vote for us, and then have Mark Cuban come out as your surrogate and tell you that most women who surround the other person are dumb and weak, because they all took that as an insult, that if they thought they were going to vote a different way, that they were just insulted by the left.
Elon Musk is a celebrity, all right, to an extent.
No, sure he is.
Vivek Ramaswamy is a celebrity. Like, there is celebrity on this side.
Varying degrees,
sure.
yeah.
But here's the difference. When Donald Trump, according to campaign finance records, paid his staff 1.5% of what Kamala Harris paid hers, you recognize these people showed up in support of Donald Trump, not because they were paid to show up by Donald Trump. That is the difference. You were buying celebrity status in the hopes that that would carry you. And I call this reverse communism. The idea is you're supposed to be celebrating the common man. Workers of the world unite. That's the idea of communism. That's how you get it rolling. The Democrats were doing it the opposite. They were organizing the proletariat. They were, here are all the higher-ups, and if you want to be part of the higher-ups, make sure you vote for us. They were celebrating Oprah.
Yeah.
They were celebrating,
the top 1%.
Yes.
Look,
this is
Barack
who they
and
were,
Michelle.
This is who they were paying to show up to say, hey, listen, we paid Eminem to show up over in Detroit. Make sure you go ahead and vote for us. This is a reverse way of thinking that clearly, when you think about what Donald Trump was supporting and highlighting, he was highlighting a firefighter who got killed at one of his rallies.
Yeah.
All right, it wasn't Eminem.
I tell you, I've seen this play out, something similar to this, in the way you're describing it, Lowe's, on the music side of this business, where some record label will spend just incredible amounts of money. They spend it on hair and wardrobe and marketing and the best producers and all. And that record flops completely, and they go back to the drawing board and try to figure out why. And then there'll be like a guy like Oliver Anthony that just shows up singing about the rich men north of Richmond that blows up on social media. He's never had a record label. He's never had a single promo shoot. He's never done any of those things. And it's successful because it's real.
Yeah, because when you bring up an Elon Musk, when you bring up a Vivek, they're saying, hey, this is what needs to be done to make your life better. On the other side, you have Barack Obama and Oprah standing up on stage saying, well, you guys shouldn't have more than what you need. Well, Oprah, how much do you need? Because you got more than everyone.
You must
Michelle
be real
and Barack,
suspicious of her.
You've never really held a job, and yet you have 3 houses. What do you mean? So that is where I think they lost a lot of voters. When you bring Bruce Springsteen in, and the only reason you bring him to Atlanta is you go, hey, we're losing that race in 65 and over, 55 and over. We're not getting those votes. We're losing women and men at a record rate in Georgia. You know who they like? That white guy, Bruce Springsteen. Bring him to Atlanta. Bring in Quay. Bring in these people. Tyler Perry. That's who we need to tell black people to vote for us. That's how pandering they are, and that's what they think of their voters. All they need to do is see a famous black person or a famous person, and they'll vote for us.
Shallow.
Yeah, they're that shallow.
So ridiculous.
So my new favorite guy is Jelly Roll. I've been converted to being part of when I will put your songs and throw them into my I'm about to do yard work. Ooh. You know, all right, I want it on Jelly Roll. Just roll me off some Jelly Roll songs for the next 30, 45 minutes. Okay, you've made it. It's happened, all right? So he referred to it on the Joe Rogan podcast as Build-A-Bear Nashville. How, if you haven't ever, if you know, your kids, your grandkids, you know, Build-A-Bear, you go over to Build-A-Bear and they put stuffing in it and you give them a name and they make you a bear. It's Build-A-Bear. He was talking about how they were doing that in Nashville. Give you some hair, give you some money, give you some backing. Here's what they were doing.
So many times.
We had Build-A-Bear president. She was so fake and so false that they tried to use $1 billion to sell to you that she deserved to be the leader of the free world, and she lost by 7 million votes.
And is in debt $20 million. It's unbelievable, Rhino. This is like, anybody that's trying to dissect this needs to listen to this show, listen to this segment specifically. We know what went wrong. It's very clear what went wrong. MSNBC this morning, we got it on in the studio right now. They have no idea why she lost. Good. They don't have any idea.
Good.
It actually works in our favor, so it's good.
Yeah, I want all Democrats to be, I want their minds spinning on how they lost this race because it is very simple. And if you can't figure it out, well, too bad. You're dumb. And I hope it stays that way. I hope MSNBC, CNN, they keep going this because you know who does know? Their voters. A lot of their voters, even though they're going to sit here and play the same games, they know deep down inside that they alienated almost every single voter that they had. And they did it by race. They did it by homosexuality. They did it by this, that, the other. They broke their entire group up. They divided themselves. And that's what cost them everything, by dividing themselves. And I'm glad they did. And I hope they continue to do that. But here's where they're going to need to start paying attention to their own voters and asking them the questions. But they can't continue to lie to people and just say, hey, I'm paying to have the biggest celebrities here and we're going to have fake joy, because it's not going to work. And I hope they continue to fail.
They will. NBC is now concerned about Donald Trump using the DOJ to target his political enemies. They are terrified of it. And they talked about it yesterday.
We focused on a couple of lawyers. One's named Mike Davis. He's a very conservative, kind of a bomb-throwing provocateur who used to clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch. He's an advisor to the transition team, and he has been out there publicly saying that Donald Trump should prosecute people like the Attorney General Tish James and Jack Smith, the special counsel, that his Justice Department should do that. He's actually articulating which crimes they should be prosecuted for, and he's making no bones about that. The other person we talked about is Mark Paoletta. He is the former general counsel of the Office of Management and Budget in Donald Trump's first term, and he has been out there not specifically advocating that the DOJ should prosecute individuals, but he is justifying the idea that the president can order the Justice Department to investigate and prosecute specific cases. So he's laying the legal groundwork. Now, the thing about that is that would violate 5 decades of norms post-Watergate, which said that the Justice Department should be independent from the president, that the president should never say, go investigate that person. These people are suggesting that Donald Trump should be able to do that with his Justice Department. And as a legal matter, they're right. We're talking about norms here, not laws.
Norms here. You mean like the normalness of going and trying to prosecute a former president or raiding his house? Don't tell me about norms. Norms, you threw that out the window. So now you get everything that's coming. The most important things of what he said was, oh, well, he has legal right to do that. Yeah. Oh, he figured this out. Oh, yeah, he's going to go after Letitia James. So I'm going to ask you this, Democrats. Do you not want somebody to make sure the people who are prosecuting Americans, who are putting a lawfare in way, are you sure you don't want people looking into them and making sure that what they're doing is legal? Or would you rather somebody who's saying, no, it's okay, it's illegal? Because I'll tell you what Letitia James did and why she's so scared. What she did was illegal. Jack Smith, what he did was illegal. And so was the DOJ, even appointing Jack Smith. That's what they're afraid of.
When you refer to these as novel rulings, it's because it's never happened before. And it only happened in the interest of one person, who was going to be the future president. You've got this pendulum that has swung way in the wrong direction when it comes to the legal system. Swinging it back, I'm not talking about revenge, but I am talking about the people that were responsible for pushing our legal system to be a weapon of the Democrat Party. Those people need to be punished.
Absolutely, they do.
Those people need to have the full wrath of the DOJ come at them and say, what you did here is not only unethical, it's illegal.
And it all comes down to transparency too, Los. That's the thing.
Show everybody what they did.
Absolutely. The books are open. Here's why we're doing what we're doing, because of the illegality. And I want you to see it. Yeah. And that way there's no questions. The more transparency, the better.
Think about what Jack Smith had to admit to under oath. He had to admit that the FBI on direction from the DOJ, were to put covers on the documents at Mar-a-Lago, listing them as top secret, to then stage a photo op. Like, if this isn't the whole idea of unethical, if not illegal, and you might be like, well, it's just a photo op. But look what they were doing.
But they convinced millions of people that it was just.
They actually raided the home of a former president in the interest of trying to put him in prison for the rest of his life. Again, the pendulum has to come back to legality, what it's going to be. And those people that are responsible for committing illegality and unethical behavior, they needs to go to prison.
Yeah, and especially like the
But they're your political rivals. They're the ones who broke the system.
They broke the law.
Broke the law. That's right.
And when you break the law, you need to be held accountable. Look, you have every right to break the law. You will suffer the consequences, and that's what's going to happen. Fonnie Willis should be scared. I think Letitia James should be scared because what they did will be figured out, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. This woman got a boo to help prosecute. Do you know how wrong that is? There's a reason why he walked away from that.
There's going to be a lunch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, who are now suddenly, in a weird way, aligned. And this is not because Joe Biden's a good dude, but I guarantee that discussion point on the way out is going to be with Donald Trump telling him, all right, who are you pardoning? And it better be a bunch of Jan Sixers. And if you get that, I'm sure Joe's going to ask for his son.
Absolutely.
And this is just part of fixing what has been done wrong to people over the last
It's the horse trading.
Listen, Hunter did wrong. These other people, some of them did wrong. A lot of them got caught
Most of them
in
did
an
not.
entrapment situation.
That's exactly right. When we continue on Extra 106.3, we'll wrap up with the show with a pansy sports reporter asking a head college football coach about the election, and his answer is near perfect. Next on Extra 106.3, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
The urban culture of violence, and nobody talks about it. Civil rights leaders, no. Law enforcement, no. Politicians, no. The number one cause of death among young male blacks is young male blacks.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Good morning, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Exmark. You know that you're pretty much wrapping up your lawn care for the fall, all right? You know that, listen, I haven't cut the lawn. That's taken care of, but now it's a leaf game and it's a debris game. Well, when you need to get everything finished up, well, that's where you go ahead and go over to Howard Brothers and pick up some Exmark equipment. Whether that's a mower or another piece of equipment, just know Exmark means durability and precision. It's going to help you keep your lawn looking the best, especially when we're now late in the season, the leaves. Exmark mowers can help out with those. They can help you finish that lawn work and get it done faster. Stop by our local Howard Brothers for your next Exmark today. Their friendly team is going to be able to not only show you the Exmark that you need for your needs. You tell them, hey, here's the area I'm looking to take care of. Maybe you're just a lawn care professional. Maybe you're a regular person just looking to take care of a large amount of acreage or even a small amount. Either way, they will be able to direct you to the Exmark that can help you handle that and also how to maintain that for seasons to come. The perfect mower for your needs this season and beyond is over at Howard Brothers.
Foundation repair isn't pretty, but at Atlanta Ramjack, we make it easy. If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with the repair. Why call us? Foundation repair is all we do. We have highly trained estimators that will thoroughly evaluate your home and only recommend what is needed. If you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881.
Convenience is defined as the state of being able to proceed with something with little effort or difficulty. Well, at RBM of Atlanta, we embody this philosophy. Meet our Mercedes-Benz pickup and delivery service. It gives you back time and money. Does your Mercedes-Benz need service? If so, we'll pick up your vehicle that's requiring service from your home or office and bring it back to our dealership for the required service. With over 100 appointments available every weekday, over 50 appointments on Saturdays, and more than 200 courtesy vehicles in our fleet, we're here to serve. We'll work around your schedule. We're here to save you time, energy, and money. RBM of Atlanta is a J.D. Power 2023 Diamond Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience and Georgia's only 9-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best winner. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Pickup and delivery service restrictions do apply. Ask your service coordinator or service advisor for details.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
Being in an accident really bites. You need people around you that are going to make the whole process easier to deal with. I just described David Van Sant at Van Sant Law. He used to work for the insurance companies. What an advantage. He knows who to call, what to say, and they're not going to pull the wool over his eyes. Give him a call. Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY, vansantlaw.com, 855-GA-INJURY.
Hey guys, not sure you heard the big news. Newsmax just filed to go public. Newsmax is big, and they give you the real news. Even Reuters Institute says Newsmax is now one of the top U.S. brands, and President Trump says Newsmax is terrific. So get more info on Newsmax's planned IPO. You may even be eligible to buy preferred shares in Newsmax now before any IPO. Find out more. Go to newsmaxinvest.com. That's newsmaxinvest.com. Forbes says Newsmax is a news powerhouse. You can become a co-owner today. Go to newsmaxinvest.com and make sure you consult with your attorney or financial advisor. Investors are responsible for conducting their own due diligence for any investment and for tax and other risks and obligations. Check out newsmaxinvest.com now.
The Morning Extra has you covered until 10 a.m. Then it's Glenn Beck, Clay Travis, and Buck Sexton at noon, and The Kimmer Show taking over at 3, only on Extra 106.3.
Oh, those cowardly sports reporters. And there's a lot of libs in that world. I had no idea. I thought sports guys were tough, conservative. Yeah, that's what I thought. Turns out, it's not always the case. I'm not even sure it's even most often the case, for that matter. The former DC at UGA, now the head coach at Oregon, was asked about the election. And of course, you know, they try to put Dan Lanning in this spot, so he has to make a choice. He's going to be cornered up. And when asked about the election, he never takes the bait. Check this out.
Something non-football related, but I believe it was last year you spoke out about gun violence. There was a decision made in this country that I'm sure affects a lot of the players in your locker room as well as the women in your life and the women on your staff. What was sort of the temperature in the locker room or with your team as a whole after that, the results were in, and was that something that sparked one of those get real conversations?
Yeah, our guys just work. They just work. So obviously, gun violence is something I've been passionate about, but our guys just line up and go to work every single day. I'm glad to be in the country that we're in, certainly proud to be an American and excited about the future of this country, but I'm not one to hop into politics.
That sounded like a Kirby Smart answer to me. The old, we're just chopping wood, man. That's all we're doing. He just said, my guys went to work. That's how they win.
So you had a number of the people on the far left that, because you could see them on Twitter, and they would bring up how in 2020, when Joe Biden won, we got out the streets and we were partying the next day. Our response was, well, we just went to work.
Right.
It's like, you know what happened the next day after my candidate won? I went to work.
Yeah.
And so it's funny the way
just
that,
a different mentality,
that he just brings it up of people of accomplishment. We don't get to just suddenly take the day off and say, well, I ain't going to show it. Nobody making fries today. I'm going to go celebrate that it's Joe Biden or it's Kamala Harris. Instead, it's, I got to go to work. And in our case, in everyone in this room, except for Joe, because Joe went to bed a little bit earlier, I believe, we were all on like an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And we went to work. Mm-hmm. That's the mentality that he's talking about. That's why our side didn't party in the streets when Donald Trump was back in.
And I'll be honest, if I only had an hour's sleep and Trump lost, I'd be here.
You'd be
at work.
It'd be at work the next day.
Yeah, what did happen after Joe Biden?
Went to work.
I mean, it is one of the most ridiculous things I've seen, by the way, are these videos of these people crying and breaking. I don't even know I could go to work today. I could go to work. I can't. I don't have
That's why they're behind, man. That's why they'll always be behind.
Well, no, because they're mentally brought down to a level where they are children.
And they'll
they
be
act
behind
like children
the rest of their life.
Oh, absolutely.
They'll never get ahead because
Never.
of that victim mentality that we talked about earlier, Lois.
It makes them buy into it. That for some reason that things don't work out for me because, I don't know, it's not, astronomical, some sort of cosmos, some sort of weird mojo that you have. It's because of you.
Yeah.
And you know why things have worked out for me? It's because of me. You know why things work out in my home? It's me and my wife and my kids. And this is the stuff that we try and work on. This isn't some sort of weird, oh my God, how did that happen? It's out of pure luck. No, it's just work, man. That's
Hard
what Dan
work.
Lanny's talking about. It's like, listen, we're not caught up, we're caught up in the work.
That's right. And they're number one in the nation because of that work. Nobody's handed those kids anything.
No.
They got out there and grinded it out. They got out there and put their money where their mouth is. They work hard. And I so appreciate, I don't know what Dan Lanning's politics are. I have no idea. But I love that answer. And I got nothing but respect for him because of that answer. I mean, it's so many guys, Rhino, will go down the path of, like the Popoviches, just Steve Kerr that's always, popping off at the mouth.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, not all that
Celebrity
well.
again.
Yeah,
Celebrity.
Right. Not all that well.
They can play that game all they want, but you know what? If people understand, if they want to succeed, they have to put in the work, and some people are going to be too lazy to do that, and that's too bad. I'm sorry for you. But you know what? People who do work. I've worked 3 jobs when I first moved down to Georgia. When I came from New York, I figured I better start working. I was working at Circuit City, if you remember that place.
I do. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I worked at Johnny's Pizza, and I worked at Home Depot all at the same time. I would go from one job to the other in order to make sure that I was able to pay the rent because I wanted to have my own apartment at that point. I had to work. And you know what? It paid off in the future. I ended up working for Home Depot for 12 years, got fully vested in the company. It set me up to have stock and to build something and hopefully use that money to buy houses and build things that I wanted to do. That's all. I work my heart every single day of my life. No one's going to take that away from me. And I think a lot of people understand that. But the Democrats have gotten into the head saying you don't need to work this hard. You should be at home. Someone else should be taking care of your children. You shouldn't have to work. You should be able to get 9 weeks off if you're a guy and you need to breastfeed. These weird ideologies and these weird things and saying, hey, if you don't get it, then stay home. We'll get you a check. Here's your $1,200 check. Here, have more babies. Here's more money. These are the kind of things that people are sick of.
Rick Taylor is a guy that was that ran for the Senate in Ohio, former Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate. This is his post. My aunt called asking about Thanksgiving plans. During the conversation, she mentioned that she voted for Trump. I told her, my home is not open to traitors. And I would not go to theirs. I have no safe space in my life for those who couldn't care less about the United States. She is upset. F-A-F-O.
Yeah, that guy's a fool.
Dude, what a freaking lunatic.
Okay, this is a weird thing because everybody's wrote the same thing. They're all right. This is a pre-made thing, again, that the Democrats are throwing out there to
Fabricated
create
again?
division.
AstroTurf again?
They're creating division, and they're going to continue to create division. You think this is going to be changing over the next 12 years while Republicans are running this country and making it a better country? Eventually, they'll shut up. Eventually, they'll fall off. But this has been, I've seen this same exact post from 7 different people who have been doing this for so long.
I don't have to worry about it because I bring the turkey.
Right.
I smoke the turkey for 8 hours.
Seriously, if they don't want me, I'll keep the turkey.
I bring the turkey.
That's
so
right.
I don't have to worry about it. Now, you want to talk about maturity because that clearly is not maturity. I'm the guy who went to Christmas knowing that we were going to do Christmas outside. In order to take care of some of the more fanatical COVID family members. And I was like, fine, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to do it because it's family. And that is more important than whatever political ideology that you have. If you do not have that maturity level, as much as I was just sitting there going, I'm not going to say anything. I'm stewing about this.
Right.
This is really annoying. It's really freaking cold out here in North Alabama.
And for no reason.
And on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, it's pretty cold. I decided I would just suck it up. So all I'm asking from some of these other people is, hey, Buttercup, suck it up. You lost fair and square. Now you got to live with the repercussions. That's all.
Dude, they can't, though. They're busy cutting their hair off, and they're busy with sex strikes, and they're busy with all this.
Mentally insane.
You're right, absolutely.
I don't care if they don't want to hear it.
Absolutely mental. There is a mental problem in the United States of America, and that's the biggest portion of it is in the Democrat Party, it seems.
That's a grown man, by the way, who said, I didn't get my way. I'm taking my baseball and I'm going to go play somewhere else because I don't like you and you're my mommy.
I want you to think about how silly this is. During that time period, again, going back to that Christmas, my daughter turns, her birthday is just a couple days after Christmas. So kind of sucks for her. But we then had a birthday cake that we went and picked up. Again, we're outside.
And it's frozen.
And she blew out the candles. And those family members refused to eat it.
Oh, my God. And you still bit your tongue. Which
and I bit my tongue.
That is incredible restraint that none of these fools have.
Because that's maturity.
Right, exactly.
And I'm sorry, I will have family members, including my own parents, who will vote against me. And yet, we're still going to do Christmas. We're still going to do holidays.
Absolutely
It's going to be totally fine. In fact, when my mom was in town, she didn't have a problem about talking about the election because she's like, we got beat.
Yeah. Well, but that's maturity.
That's maturity.
Absolutely right, man. And we need so much more of that. And maybe in the next 4 years we'll find it.
How is someone running for political office in something so high up as, let's say, a House of Representative position, and they don't have the maturity to tell their family member, yes, we're getting together for the holidays?
Let's just have some turkey.
Look, I bet his family's like, good. You know what? I'm glad he's not coming.
Most likely.
This guy is
Dear
he's so
heavens.
annoying.
Can you imagine?
I love him, but he is a mess.
Yeah. We put up with a lot. But you know what? We're glad that you're here with us to shoulder it all, to be mature about it all, and to point out the absurdity of the other side when they decide to act the way they've been acting. It's all right, though. We're going to make it through. America's going to be great again. You wait and see. For Rhino, Lois, and Board Up, Goey, Virgin River, I'm Tug. Y'all come back now. You hear?
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon.